Boys are going to bring the heat today.
As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the fuck up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff Iafrate and Booner. We are back. It's Monday, February 2nd, starting a new week before the Super Bowl. Got the Seahawks and Patriots scoring off this weekend. Things came out today that we're going to talk about. You're going to be seeing another year of Levi and Josh. We'll explain why later in the show. Josh Pascal, another one. ESPN came out with their actual first of the year, I believe. First and second round mock draft. So we'll break down who the Lions select. We also have Colton Pouncy from The Athletic joining the show. Does Lions Collective with me every single Wednesday, and he's joining the fellas today to talk some Detroit Lions. And on top of that, we're kind of wrapping up, I guess, the coaching cycle. We had more hires over the weekend, so a lot of things happening in sports. You know, the Pistons trade deadlines this week as well, so we have plans for that. It's on Thursday, I believe.
Yep.
So big week before the Super Bowl. But how are you feeling, Boone?
I feel good. I'm getting this tweet out for the show, man. I'm pumped up. It was a good weekend. I'm pumped up for the week. We're a week closer to the combine, a couple weeks closer to the draft, man, and the Super Bowl's this week, which we're going to be live at the Dog and Pony Show, which fired up about that. I was looking today, Jeff. I was looking on Amazon for us to get like Seahawks and Patriot costumes. I don't know. I was trying to find ways to spice up the stream a little bit to get kind of, so we're just not just like sitting there talking. And I was like, we should, I don't know. We should find some costumes or something. Everyone pick a side, and you gotta rock your costume.
Yeah, are we still rating Super Bowl commercials?
We are, yeah. Just like we're gonna be like a panel like the NBA dunk contest, and we're gonna have sheets. We're really just gonna have blank printer paper, and you're gonna get probably each person will get like 50 of them, and each person will get a Sharpie, and you'll write down, and you got to keep track. Right in the corner, Chevy commercial, boom, boom. And then at the end, I have an idea. At the end, we'll keep all of ours, and we'll get the average rating, and we'll put out our top 5. We'll put out our top commercials based off of our ratings. That's thrilling, dude. That's fun, dude. And then that means we have to stay locked in and have a good time, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll be live Sunday, Dog and Pony Show Brewing in Oak Park. So it's the best brewery in town. It's one of the best breweries I've been to. So if you want to have some beer with the fellas watching football, I believe they don't serve. They don't have a kitchen there, but they have food coming to the place. Like I believe Kyle mentioned, he's going to have delivery. So there'll be food, which you can bring your own food. He welcomes that. You come and have some beers, watch some football, hang out with the fellas. We'll have some bets in place. We'll rate some commercials. It'll be a great time. So
I'll tell you what, too, and this, I've said this, and I feel like I'm pretty good with food. When we go there, there's a cafe and a pizza spot right next door. I think it's some of the best pizza that I've ever had. It was some of the best pizza in Detroit. Like, it's kind of like a New York style. I love it. I think it's unbelievable. Every time I go, I go get a slice or a full pizza. It's unbelievable.
You got a lot of options there. He's got a food truck outside. It's a good environment, man. He does a great job over there. Shout out Kyle. So we'll be promoted this week. So look forward to that. Before we get into the Jared Goff commenting also on Drew Petzing, Levi, Colton Pouncy, we do have, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's kind of wrapping up this whole coaching cycle. So we finally have who's where because we just locked up Clint Kubiak over the weekend. And then Todd Monken took that Browns job. So you see the new, and then also, by the way, Mike LaFleur took the Cardinals job, which we were wondering who's going to take that job. Well,
Mike LaFleur. We've been talking about Mike LaFleur for a couple of years now. We're just waiting for him to get an opportunity somewhere.
Yeah, and we finally have every job filled. Atlanta, Kevin Stefanski. You got the Giants. They got John Harbaugh. Miami got Jeff Hafley. Tennessee got Robert Saleh. Baltimore, Jesse Minter. Pittsburgh, Mike McCarthy. I don't think we didn't have that one. Buffalo, Joe Brady. Arizona, Mike LaFleur. And then, like I said, Cleveland, Todd Monken, and the Raiders got Clint Kubiak. Which, honestly, I think we had on this list. We got a couple of these right.
Had to get them out, yeah.
3 or 4 right. The other ones we did not see coming. I did not see Todd Monken of the Browns. I did not, or we got 4 of these right, actually, or 5. 5 of them, I think. We didn't see Joe Brady because we didn't know Sean McDermott. I've advocated. I know it sounds really bad, but I didn't think they would do it this offseason. But I did want Sean McDermott fired. I thought it was time. I didn't see Mike McCarthy to the Steelers and had no clue that was going to happen. I thought they would probably go, which I looking back, it was the wrong thought, but I thought they would go like young up and coming stud head coach, but they chose someone who's from the area, more proven, I guess, but offensive coach.
What was your favorite hire in this cycle? Like, honestly, not even just favorite hire. Who are a couple that you're like, I think that's going to work out? Like, I know it's crazy to say. I think one of the and people don't think this is biased. It's not biased. I think Jesse Minter is going to be really good in Baltimore. I do. I know they already kind of have
coordinator hires. Love his
he dominated. I just saw a tweet before we hopped on here. Someone put a tweet out there and was like, Jesse Minter already got his full staff and an elite staff before John Harbaugh even hired an offensive coordinator in New York. And it was like, that was shocking because like Jesse Minter put together an insane staff instantly. And it seemed like he was kind of, it's good. Like if you're an organization, you want to coach like this, it seemed like as fast as he made these hires, Jeff, like he was prepared on like, if I ever get a head coaching job, these are the guys I want. I have my guys. I know what I want to do. I know how I want to run an organization. And obviously he's worked under Jim Harbaugh. So Harbaugh obviously has probably put him in the best position possible. And he's been around a little bit. I really love that. I think that might be my favorite hire this one. And maybe I would say, oh man, I almost want to say the Joe Brady in Buffalo, but it just, that one, I feel like it's such up in the air. I really like Joe Brady, and you know me about Josh Allen, and that's why I'm kind of intrigued with that hire.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Jesse Minter one. That's probably the most intriguing to me, given the Ravens, I guess the history of the Ravens and who they're coming off of. John Harbaugh, who right now is probably a top 7 head coach in the league. So they had a lot of pressure filling that spot. To me, it was different from the Tomlin stuff. I mean, they were the number 1 seed like 2 years ago. So that was a lot of pressure, and I thought they nailed that one. So I'm excited to see what Jesse Minter does with the Ravens. I like Clint Kubiak a lot. I think the Raiders, to me, this is a breath of fresh air for an organization that has failed every year hiring head coaches. And I think they got this one right. I really do. I think Clint's a really good head coach. I don't know. They're going to go Fernando Mendoza. I don't know how that's going to go. That could go, either way. I like Mendoza a lot, but it really just comes down to how good of a quarterback he is. Because if he's as good as advertised, I think they're going to start building something with Tom Brady there. And he's kind of, in the ears of the ownership there, and he's helping them. I think the Raiders are going to start trying to turn things around pretty quickly. So I like Clint Kubiak to the Raiders. I mean, we kind of knew it was going to happen. I like you said, I love Joe Brady to the Bills. I think that's a great hire. I think it was time to move on. I think Joe Brady's a guy who's going to be a head coach anyway. So why not be a head coach for the organization you've been the play caller for? I mean, it makes a ton of sense. The one I don't like is the Mike McCarthy one. I hate
that one, dude. I think it's the worst hire.
A safe hire. I think they're trying to just do a safe hire. And
I would have loved to see Brian Flores get another chance, in especially in Pittsburgh. I think obviously defensive minded. I don't know if they wanted to switch to an offensive minded head coach. I just think Brian Flores, Jeff, was perfect in there.
I think like Mike McCarthy is going to put them in the exact same position.
Agreed.
They might just be like Mike Tomlin got them 10-7 playoff appearance. That's probably what they're going to be. Like,
to be honest, they got a worse coach. Like Mike Tomlin stepped down, and it really was kind of like a mutual thing to where Mike Tomlin could have been out anyways. I think they regressed when it comes to their coach. Like I think they hired a guy, which all respect to Mike McCarthy, Jeff. I don't know if you have this thought, but it feels like, in my opinion, I think Mike McCarthy is a worse head coach than Mike Tomlin. Like they would have been better off just sticking with Mike Tomlin. Like what is Mike McCarthy going to do differently or better than Mike Tomlin? Like he didn't do it in Dallas. You think he's going to do it in Pittsburgh? It's just it doesn't make much sense.
I don't think he's like I thought Tomlin's time was ending, but I don't think Mike McCarthy's the answer. I think they're probably going to fire him. He's been fired the last 2 times he's been a head coach, and they've been fine.
Insane.
Like the Dallas Cowboys won some games, but he's not taking you anywhere. I just don't. I'm surprised also the Cardinals got Mike LaFleur. I'll say that too. Not that I like Mike LaFleur. I know you do as well. We've talked a lot about him. I'm surprised the Cardinals didn't settle. I thought they would probably get like a recycled coach or maybe someone that, they were taking more of a risk, a chance on. But like Mike LaFleur is actually a pretty good hire for them, to be honest. Like I think that's for them to get Mike LaFleur, and that's a terrible situation. Like, to be honest, I put the Cardinals with the Browns. Like I'd put them above the Browns, but they're in probably just arguably as bad of a spot.
I thought Mike LaFleur coming from Sean McVay, like, dude, I think the thing with him, you've seen so many coaches be successful leaving Los Angeles and going to get a job.
Exactly.
And it's like whether you think he obviously was an OC in New York and kind of didn't do well. I think he got fired in New York with the Jets. That was the Jets.
Yeah,
we all
Zach
know.
Wilson though as quarterback.
Yeah. And he goes to Los Angeles, and it's very well known that like Mike LaFleur is an up and comer. And I talked about, because obviously he doesn't call plays there, dude. I brought up 2 years ago, the first time Ben Johnson, the conversation was him going out. I said Mike LaFleur could be a great OC, a guy looking for a position to actually call plays. And it was like, we've brought this up for years that he's going to be a head coach one day. Obviously, it's not just because of his brother, but it's because of the guys that he's worked with, and also, you know, people that have been in his position, gone on to be successful. I think, dude, you know what would be best for Mike LaFleur in that squad would be just a total, and I know people hate to see it or hear about, I think a lot of like a pretty good reset. Like,
trade Kyler.
I think you keep some of your main, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., some of those defensive guys that they have. But then like some of these guys like Kyler Murray and, you know, you maybe try and get rid of some contracts and kind of start a little fresh. So
what if you had to choose before we move on, there's always a coach that makes it 1 or 2 years before he's fired. Who would be that guy in the cycle?
First fire, you're saying?
First fire.
Todd Monken. I hate to say it. I think Todd he's actually getting an opportunity. It would either be Todd or Mike McCarthy.
Yep, I agree. I think it's between those, and honestly, like I'm not so sure on Jeff Iafrate. I think the Dolphins, that's a rough situation. I don't know. Jeff Iafrate might be in it over his head.
I think he'll get the time, but I think the reason he'll get the time is because it's not the best situation.
Yeah, like I actually, believe it or not, I know Saleh was already fired, but I actually like Saleh there, to be honest. I think Saleh is going to have success there. He got Brian Daboll as his OC, so not a bad job from him. Shout out to the DOCs in there. He says Robert Saleh is the best hire.
The doc, I went into I went to the doc's YouTube page while you were talking, and he was still alive at 8:10. So I went in there and just commented, "Hey doc, how are you?" We got a show going on, doc.
I feel like every day he's gonna start creeping to
He needs to creep the other way. Like start 10 minutes earlier so you can get to 8:00.
MC3 says Hafley was a Micah Parsons merchant. I mean,
there's no way. I mean, Hafley was good the year before too. Their defense.
Yeah, I would say having a guy like Micah obviously it's like losing Hutch. Of course, it's going to affect your defense. I mean, they got worse, but
Jeff Hafley is a heck of a coach, dude.
And he honestly, the thing he has going for him is he was a head coach in college. Like he was a head coach. A lot of these coordinators don't have that. He was a head coach. He ran a program before. It was in college, but he's done it. By the way, Doc's in here too. I wonder what he thinks. What's all this talk about Matthew Stafford coming back, by the way, to the Detroit? Okay,
I think
shout out. We were just talking Carlos.
I was boosting. I wasn't boosting Carlos up, but I was just saying the other day, like, good to have an opinion. Yeah.
Met him at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, and he gets a lot of shit, but we defend his right to get his opinion out there.
Yeah, this one though, I disagree with his opinion. Very, very much so.
He put out an article that says Lions should keep an open mind on potential reunion with Matthew Stafford. Put it on the Detroit Free Press, and it went everywhere.
People hated it.
Oh, look at Doc. I don't want to hear Doc, by the way, say is Matthew the final piece. I don't want to hear that because Doc was happy this dude was shipped out of here. So
Doc plays sides. He's really good at knowing when to switch sides.
If anything, Doc would say that Matthew would set this team back 5 years. I think that's what Doc would say. I think Doc would say that. He would definitely say that. Shout out to you, DOC. But to keep an open mind, and basically the reason I'll highlight it, the reason why he basically it's all it's all like, what do you call it? It's not, there's not real data to suggest he would return. It was basically just because Matthew had an open-ended response at the end of his post-game press conference.
That last press conference.
Yeah, but that's not. And Sean McVay got a little testy. He puts in here when the reporter asked if he expects Stafford to return next season. And McVay said if he still wants to play. And he said, what the hell kind of question is that? That's what McVay said to the reporter. But Stafford didn't even acknowledge the question about returning. He just said, I think my teammates, and that's all I'll answer for you. So it's not whether or not Matthew's going to come to Detroit. That is a crazy opinion. It's speculation. Thank you for that. It's all speculation because
it's very, very much speculation. That's not listen, I would have to say,
Matthew's
Jeff,
a Ram or retired. That's
I would have to say there's a 0% chance Matthew Stafford returns to Detroit. 0% chance. There's no way that Matthew Stafford's like, yeah, I'll go back to Detroit, especially after
off contract. I mean,
it doesn't make much sense. It really doesn't. And again, Carlos, we boosted him up last week talking about, hey, it's good for him to be able to have an opinion, for people to have an opinion, whether you hate the opinion or not. I hate this opinion. And like reading some of the article and some of the points of it, it's essentially like, Jared, you need to be perfect offensively for Jared and this offense to be good, which I disagree with. I've been saying this all offseason. This offense, even this year, they weren't great. They were still a top 5 offense. I'm kind of tired. I'm to that point, and it's going to happen all offseason of just constant talk. Like, I think the offensive line's a fair criticism, but to be like Matthew Stafford would change this whole, like, it's just so wrong because Jared hasn't been bad. Like, all of these issues you've had the last 2 years, obviously the playoff game, yeah, you lost because Jared's turnovers. But like all the issues you've had though, like this last year, had nothing to do with Jared Goff, Jeff. Like nothing. That's like one of the last things. So to insinuate, hey, if you bring Matthew Stafford back, you would be a Super Bowl contender again, or you would have been in the playoffs last year, I think that's just wrong. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, people, and this is what I always bring up too. Like, if it's perfect to say that he needs everything to be perfect is wrong. Do you need a defense like any other quarterback needs? Yes, of course. That's the reason they actually lost against the 49ers in an NFC Championship game, because you allowed 27 points in the second half and you lost 34-31. You were up 17 points. And then you threw that lead. So that's the reason they lost, is because they allowed 27 in the second half. So a defense, of course. I mean, look at the two teams in the Super Bowl. They both have defenses. So that's every quarterback. An offensive line. Goff needs it more because he's not mobile. Okay? So, of course, you need him protected. But the whole, like, he needs weapons. Well, every quarterback needs weapons. Okay? That's an obvious statement. He needs weapons. And that's the thing where it's like, it's easy to blame Goff. I understand that. Listen, the money he's making obviously hinders your ability to go out and spend a lot of money. That goes for a lot of teams. Okay. You see the two quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, they're not making really any money. So that obviously matters. But to try and be like, yeah, Goff, if we just got rid of Goff, things would be different. Or if we just found a way to, get this, if we just trade Goff and get Matthew Stafford, things would be different. Now I love Matthew, but it's like, dude, Goff had a great year. Okay. If you want to draft a quarterback, develop him, someone that's more mobile, by all means, go ahead. But Goff to me is like if you want to talk about issues with this team, he's probably like number 4 on this team. I mean, I'm talking offensive line, defense, coordinators, and then we're getting to Goff. Like,
yeah. And then at that point, once you get past 3, it's like, how much does that really affect it? It really doesn't as much as people think.
I'm looking at, like, and then you can even kind of throw in Brad in that 3-4 spot where it's like Brad actually going back to hitting on draft picks. Like, like that's what you're looking for. So yeah, I think you can get to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff. You just need to do those other things right. Just like any organization, man. Like every organization needs to have things in place. That's why teams that are well coached, like look what Sam Darnold's able to do, man. Like Sam Darnold is a worse quarterback than Jared Goff. I don't care what anybody says. And they're in the Super Bowl and they're favorites. Obviously, the contract is a big part, but on top of that, their defense, their coaching staff, like, dude, they're able to figure things out. And yeah, Sam Darnold can run a little bit. That's not the only reason. It's not the only reason. Like, it's just not, dude. That defense.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, even if you go to like these teams right now, like if you rank the reasons why the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl, you're probably going like defense, JSN. The offensive line, Sam Darnold. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's coaching. How I would look. Yeah, coaching. Like, that's how I would look at it. And I know it's like easy to be like, well, Sam Darnold, because the Vikings were good last year with him, and then look at the Vikings without. But, like, really, he's been in a good spot, right? Like, the Seahawks is such a good spot right now. Like, I hate to say it, but you throw another high level, a top 10 quarterback with the Seahawks this year, and they're probably in a similar spot where they have an opportunity to go, to win, 12 to 15 games in a Super Bowl, right? Like it's just they built a really, really good team, and they have a really good coaching staff. That's kind of a fact. Look at their OC. He's still coaching the Super Bowl, and he already is the head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. Like it's proven there, man.
Like this is where we're at. I mean, this is where we're at right now. Weezy D, Darnold is better than Goff, high key.
We don't have time to get into that conversation. It's just unbelievable.
Mr. Ray, are we 100% sure Goff is even a different tier from Darnold? Because I can't tell the major difference.
But Jeff, this is the recency bias that we talk about when people see something they don't actually think and like, hey, this is actually like realistically, and then also just oh, this is happening right now. Oh, Sam Darnold's in the Super Bowl. Oh, he must be better. Oh, Nick Foles was playing in a Super Bowl. He must be better than Jared Goff. Like, no, I mean, is Sam Darnold good? Yeah. But like when we do our rankings, I mean, someone asked us last week, where would you put Sam Darnold in the rankings? And I said you put him 8 to 12, maybe even 9 to 14, 9 to 13. And he's a very good quarterback. But I mean, like, is Sam Darnold right now, is Sam Darnold an MVP candidate this year, Jeff?
No, I don't think.
And he's on the best team. He was on the best team in football, and he's not an MVP candidate. But Jared Goff has been an MVP candidate, and he plays at that level. And like, if you put Sam Darnold on the Lions are in the same position, if not maybe a little worse, with the offensive line that they have. It's a fact.
I said it last week. I think Darnold's in the Baker tier, and I think Baker's a good
spot on. Me too.
But I think Jared's in the tier above those. Now then we could talk about the top tier of the top guys, but
yeah,
like I wouldn't. That's where I would put him. Like Weezy, appreciate the 5. Are you guys still make a move slappies that would have been okay with Desmond Bain, Jalen Phillips, Suarez? The Suarez, we had that conversation. Esque moves. Are you okay with the lumps? Okay. Make a move slappies. That's an interesting word for it. I think I am pro being aggressive. How about that? If it's a make a move slappy, that is fine.
When you get to a certain spot, it's time to be aggressive. When you get to a certain position.
Yeah, now I want to make this very clear. I think you agree with me on this. There's make a move and then there's be an idiot. Okay. There's obviously like different. Speaking of tiers, there's different tiers of being aggressive. Okay.
Yep.
I'm not saying Desmond Bain went for, trading your entire foundation for Desmond Bain. Okay. Like that's one thing, but like Jalen Phillips at the deadline to try and help win a championship, it didn't work. Like that, I'm fine with. Like, I'm cool if Brad wants to make a move like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, look at the Seahawks. They got Rashid Shaheed. It worked out. Like, I don't mean go be an idiot, but yeah, am I pro filling holes and trying to be aggressive? Yes, I am. I will always be. Like, I think that's like Doc always says, you play to win. So if you feel like you need one more piece or, 2 more pieces, whatever it is to kind of take you over the top, then do it. I don't want to be reckless. Like that's the line I don't cross. I don't want to be reckless and be an idiot. I think
I agree.
Like Deshaun Watson. No one would have wanted that. If we were the Browns in that situation, like, no. After all the allegations,
massive deal too, and
fully guaranteed, that's being an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like there's different types of these situations. So no, I would say no. I'm good on trading for a guy like Deshaun Watson or Desmond Bain or something like that. Yeah. So I appreciate the $5, Weezy, but no, we are not. There's different. Now there's people that would be all for those types of moves.
The problem I hate, it's like all of a sudden, hey, just because you like a trade, you're all of a sudden you're like what's the word that he used? I don't even
make
remember.
A move slappy.
Yeah, make a move slappy because you were like, hey, I would like to improve my football team or basketball team. Oh, all of a sudden you're a make a move slappy. It's like, no, that's not. Let's think again. It's the same thing with people saying Sam Darnold is automatically better than Jared Goff. Like, let's use a little bit of brain power in this situation. It's like it's okay to have those opinions.
Like the Rams acquiring Von Miller at the deadline, all for. You're making a Super Bowl push, and it'll work.
You sure that wasn't a make a move slappy?
Yeah, like I'll take that title if that's what I'm called. I'm cool with that. Like Rashid Shaheed for the Seahawks, call me a make a move slappy, dude. I'm cool with that. I could care less. But yeah, you want to be responsible. You don't want to be a complete idiot because there's a line there. ETN says Goff is in the same tier as Hurts and Darnold. Okay, so now Hurts and see, I don't think that if you ask 32 GMs to pick a quarterback of the three, I think most GMs would take
I think
Goff and Hurts.
Yeah.
It wouldn't I think there'd be like, if you had all three and you're like, you could take all making, let's say, same amount of money, whatever, they would take Hurts. 90% would take those two. There might be one that's like, give me Darnold, but I think 80-90% of the league would take Jared Goff because you have bigger sample sizes for those guys. Like, you have a year, almost 2 years of Darnold. And this year, like, statistically, dude, like, he wasn't really that good this year statistically. Like, he had a lot of pass yards. But
Sam Darnold?
Yeah, he threw like 26 passing touchdowns and like 15 picks or something like that. Like,
yeah, I mean, again, I think he was and I know it's because like I think the thing that a lot of people look at, like, it's like box score watching essentially when you go kind of in the sense of, well, look at the Vikings after he left and then look at the Seahawks when he got there. It's Sam Darnold. He's the underlying factor of all of this, which is just not like, I mean, he had that game earlier in the year versus the Rams where he threw 4 interceptions in a massive game. And the argument, remember, I was like arguing for the Seahawks being like, well, like, look what they're doing. It was never, the argument I was always making was never the Sam Darnold. Because I even said to you, I said, dude, he threw 4 interceptions and it's still a 1-possession game and they're in overtime. That's not because of Sam Darnold's hurting them, right? It was more so like, look how good this defense is and their run game is with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Like, look at what they're doing with that. Look at what Mike McDonald is doing with that team and that defense. Like, that's the argument. I think just because they're winning and in the Super Bowl, it's, again, I'll keep using this word and the term, the recency bias. I think a lot of people in sports get hooked on that really easily. And you see that all the time, dude. Like, you see it with just like guys who have big stretches where people, they'll end up getting this is a perfect example, Jeff. This is going to be such a wild poll. It's like the Timothy Mozgov example with Cleveland. Like, he goes on a run with them. They win because they have LeBron in the stacked team. He's their starting center. And then he gets like $100 million deal in Los Angeles and the Lakers. And then no one ever heard about him ever again. And it's like, that's recency biased of like, hey, maybe do your homework. Maybe he was a product of the situation instead of actually what he is. Right. And it's like, that's kind of, Sam Darnold's just been in 2 good spots for back-to-back years. And I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback.
No, but he played well against the Rams.
Again, he's back half of the top 10 as quarterbacks, maybe 11, 12, depending on what your flavor is there. But I still think like I would take Jared Goff over Sam Darnold, the way Jared Goff runs an offense and the experience that he has. I just think the Sam Darnold stuff, because he's in the Super Bowl, people are going to have that opinion without actually doing the research and checking it.
Yeah, people want to blame quarterback play. Like Stafford was MVP this year. And look what happened. I mean, his secondary was Swiss cheese. Like, that's what ultimately, I mean, they didn't even make a Super Bowl run, and Matthew's playing excellent ball. So say what you want about Goff, man. He put up the numbers. So that's what people don't understand. Let's bring in an expert on all this. All right. Colton Pouncy covers the Detroit Lions for The Athletic, my fellow teammate on Lions Collective, which you guys can check out on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. We are live, and he is joining the show for the first time. Colton, how are we doing, my man?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
Dude, number one, we appreciate the hell out of you for joining the show.
For sure.
I know you're a busy man. All right, you're doing a podcast, you're doing Lions Collective, you're covering the Detroit Lions, you're getting locked out of your apartment. There's a lot of things going on for Colton Pouncy.
Oh, that sounds terrible,
bro. Last week I left to get groceries. I came back and I tried to open my apartment door. My key just broke off in the hole. It was like unbearable, and it was like late at night too. I couldn't even call maintenance, so I was like, "What's going on?" But,
that's tough. Yeah. That has to be the worst. Oh my gosh.
Clean break and everything, but we're good now.
Yeah. Just playing grit. I mean, that's what Colton does. And we wanted to bring you on because I wanted to pick your brain. I mean, we have the obviously the Levi stuff and the Josh stuff I wanted to get your thoughts on, but kind of going from last week, just getting your thoughts on this offensive staff as it's being kind of put together now. Drew Petzing, Mike Kafka. You had Jared Goff come out. I know he spoke at the Pro Bowl and talked about how he thinks Drew Petzing is kind of a home run hire. You talk about what they're kind of assembling in offense. Our audience hasn't kind of heard your opinion on the whole offensive side of the ball now, but where are you at in your confidence level that they can bounce back from last year and Drew Petzing can be a much, much better hire than what they brought in last year with John Morton?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when Dan set out for new OC, I give him credit for moving on from Morton because I feel like there's some coaches in this league that if they were close confidants with Morton, a guy like that who, he coached with in New Orleans and was here in the staff in 2022, I believe. Most coaches would say, you know what, it wasn't our OC's fault. It was the offensive line. Let's try to get that shored up. We like our play caller, maybe just need to make some tweaks with personnel. He realized this was a problem and it wasn't working and he had to go fix it. So to go out and bring in an outside voice, and if you look at the candidates list for the OC job, a lot of those candidates were external guys from different organizations that could come in and bring in fresh perspective. So that's kind of where my mind went first and foremost, bringing a guy like Drew Petzing. It's not just getting an outside voice, it's getting an outside voice that fits the things that you want to do. So you look at his tendencies from when he was with the Vikings, with the Browns under Kevin Stefanski, like that's his guy. They're going to run a lot of under center looks. You can look at the shotgun numbers with the Cardinals, but it really decreased from when Kyler Murray first got there. I think they're running shotgun 89.9% of the time. And when Petzing was there, it dropped down to 71%. So he's really trying to implement his own system there in Arizona with a quarterback that didn't really fit. But I think when you look at what he has in Jared Goff, who did say, home run higher, I think he probably looked into his background and was like, this is a guy that's going to run an offense that will fit my strengths. And that's the under center game. It's the play action game. The stuff that he can do in the run game, scheming things up. That Cardinals rushing offense from 2023 to 2024 was top 10 across the board. So when I look at that hire, I'm like, this makes a lot of sense on paper. Now, of course, there are going to be a lot of people on Reddit or Twitter and Cardinals fans mostly saying, this guy sucks, so good luck. What I would say is these are two different organizations and the talent level is completely different. And maybe he wasn't just a great fit there. That happens. He was a guy that I think he coached with Jonathan Gannon with the Vikings. And when Gannon reached out, that was a clear promotion for him from where he was in Cleveland. So if anyone offers you a chance to become an OC, you take it. So I don't necessarily fault him for taking the job. It just maybe wasn't a great fit. So I think it's a better fit on paper here, but obviously got to see how it plays out.
Hey, Colton, where do you think the whole Mike Kafka thing kind of falls into place here? Because obviously they said he's going to be like a senior offensive assistant or higher up offensive assistant. And Brad mentioned recently that they're going to kind of give that role out a little bit later in the offseason. How do you think he fits into it? Is he going to be a pass game coordinator? Are they going to kind of change roles? Do you feel like with some of these guys in this offense, or how do you see that kind of going about?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm a little confused right now in the moment. Unless he's taking that tight ends job, I don't think he has a background coaching tight ends, then they're going to have to do some reshuffling here on staff. And those moves haven't been finalized, I guess, just based on what's been put out there so far. But I mean, when you look at a guy with his background, if it's not going to be OC, I think your mind naturally goes to passing game coordinator. He's done that before for the Chiefs, and obviously is a former quarterback himself, so he's got a lot of expertise in that department. But the Lions do have David Shaw here in that role right now, and Shaw is a guy that has interviewed for OC jobs. I think he was on the Lions internal candidates list there for OC. So he's a guy that they clearly like and trust, but that's kind of where my mind goes. I'm like, he is a Morton guy. Like, him and Morton are good friends. I wonder if they try to move on there. But again, maybe they find a different spot for him on staff if that's where they want to put Kafka. But I'm not quite sure yet. So if that's going to take a little bit of time to reshuffle it, I probably take all the time you need. There's no rush at this point. But I do like the idea of bringing a guy like Kafka. If Petzing can help in the run game and his under center tendencies, that's where Kafka can step in and be an ideas guy. We saw the creativity from when the Lions played the Giants in November, having Jameis Winston just kind of dial up all these trick plays without Cam Scatterbo and Malik Neighbors and Jackson Dart. Like, what he was able to do, put up 517 yards of offense against the Lions. That was pretty impressive without even your top skill guys. So he's a guy that's interviewed for head coaching jobs, for OC gigs. So anytime you can bring in a guy like that without having to give him the OC title while still getting a guy like Drew Petzing, I think that makes a ton of sense. And you do that 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I think by the way, I learned a lot about Wendell Robinson that day. A ton, actually. I was unfamiliar, but now I'm familiar. I want to ask you, just transitioning to free agency. I know on X, you have Anzalone kind of sending out. He's responding. By the way, he's one of the more active guys on Twitter. I love it personally. I love when athletes, even though there's the two sides of it, there's like the DJ Reader side where maybe you don't want him as much interacting with fans. And then you have Anzalone, who is out there kind of openly speaking about the free agency process and kind of what that entails and how those decisions are kind of made from like the player's perspective. He's a guy that's super important. I mean, no one's denying that. I know Jack's been he was the green dot this year, but Anzalone brings something to this defense that they just don't simply have, at least to his level when it comes to pass coverage. And I know you guys, we all talked about it on Lions Collective too, which people can go watch that episode. And we kind of dove into maybe if you don't fill that Anzalone spot, maybe you do have a slight personnel change or a defensive something in your schematics that are changed to kind of adjust to what you have with Derek Barnes and Jack. But for Anzo's future, is that a player that you see? Because he's tweeted out, like, people are like, oh, he's not going to return. He's like, I wouldn't rule that out yet. So people are kind of like, is he returning? Is he not? What side of the fence do you kind of fall on, Colton? Could you see a potential reunion with a guy like Anzalone, or do you think it's about time that, he'll be taken care of elsewhere and the Lions just simply can't afford him?
I think at this point for him, he probably realizes he doesn't have a lot of time left in the NFL. So I would imagine he wants to maximize this I don't want to say final contract, but one of his last contracts. So if that's the case, the Lions need to meet his asking price if they want to keep him. I really think that's the case because I think he'll have other opportunities elsewhere, whether it's in New York with AG or, I don't know, Chicago with Ben. Like, I think he'll have options because he's a good player, He's getting older, but he's one of the better coverage linebackers in the NFL. He's a smart dude. He's great for culture if you're trying to build that from the ground up, as we saw with him first coming here in 2021. So he's a guy that you can really rely on for a lot of things. Now, that being said, the Lions, kind of made it clear, like, hey, you're going to have to wait for this. He wanted an extension this summer. He had like a bit of a soft holdout there and was clearly like, you got to ask Brad every time we asked him questions about the situation. So I do think there'd be some smoothing over there, I guess, if you do want to keep him. But he's a smart player, man. Like, you talk to him in the locker room, he's a guy that understands, contracts and how this business works. He understands the business probably better than most players in that locker room. So I assume he has a number in mind and he's probably talking with his agent. Now, you don't know what that process is going to look like. I think that's the point that he was trying to make on Twitter next. But, it's really about the Lions at this point. Do they have the money to fit him into their future plans? Because I assume he's going to want maybe a 2-year contract or maybe 3, but I would guess at least 2. So can you fit him in there when you have to pay Jack? You just played Derek Barnes, Hutch, and JMO, and all these extensions that you just gave out this season. It's going to be tough to make the numbers work, but you never say never. Now, if he doesn't come back, I do wonder, they did pay Derek Barnes last year. Do you move him inside? Like, he's playing that Sam role, sort of the hybrid role, but you just make him and Jack your kind of 2 linebackers. And I've been watching that Seahawks defense a lot, and a lot of things that they do, they put Nick Emmanwori, their second-round pick this past year. They basically make him like a 3rd linebacker. Like, he's technically a safety, but he's playing a lot in the box. Do you go find a player like that? Really, they have one on the roster already in Brian Branch, but 1, he's hurt, and 2, it seems like they like him better at safety. But they do have a chance to tweak that defense with personnel. Like, that's an easy move to make if you want to say, Derek, we're not going to make you a pass rusher anymore. Just go play stack backer. We'll find another guy that can be the coverage guy that Anzo was, whether that's another linebacker or a DB, or if you want to get another Sam that has some more pass rush use than Derek Barnes, you can do that. So I think they've got some options if they don't bring back Alex Anzalone, but I do think he wants to be here because he's told us that himself.
Yeah, Colton, I'm glad that we have you on today because the news broke earlier. Levi and Josh and Josh Pascal, that their contracts essentially. This is why I'm pumped up. You're on today is because I don't understand how it's working. If it's just rolling over, does their cap their number count as the cap last year or this year? Like, I guess I'm just want to ask you, 1, how do you feel about them kind of essentially returning to the Lions next year? And 2. If you probably have a better idea than Jeff and I on how this whole contract situation is going to work on the cap side of things and bonuses and all that. Do you have an idea, or if you heard today a little bit more on how all this is going to kind of work out? I've never heard a situation like this with the Lions the last few years since Brad has been at least the GM. So I'm a little like, when I saw it today, I was like, I tried reading a bunch on it, and I think I just got more confused. I was like, I don't know. And then Jeff texted me and said, Colton's coming on tonight. I was like, thank God, because I'm going to ask him about this to see if we can figure this thing out together. Do you have any idea on kind of what that contract situation looks like with those 2 guys?
It's funny when Jeff texts me, like, I'm always down to help my guy Jeff, but I'll be honest, that today was the day I learned of this rule. Like, I had no idea.
We're all learning together, man.
Yeah, I would love to help you out with some explanation here, but I'm still catching up myself. And technically, I'll say this. Technically, I'm on vacation this week, but just my guy, so I'm going to make time for you.
Oh, let's go, dude.
So I've been a little offline today, but I did do some just reading up on it. I know Jeremy did a good job kind of breaking down explainer on Pride Detroit, but yeah, I guess my understanding is it just rolls over. Like you put a pause on it if that's what happens if a player's on NFI or the PUP list, and the Lions didn't put Levi on IR for a reason. I think it's specific language there if you put him on the PUP list. So I guess the easiest way is that those contracts that they were under last year, you put a pause on that, it just kind of rolls over to the new year. Again, I have to do some more digging on that, but that's the best I got. But in terms of where they fit into 2026, it's an interesting conversation, right? Because when you bring back a guy like Levi last year on the contract that he got, I thought he was going to get $10 million coming off of the year that he had. He was top 15 in win rate among defensive tackles, top 15 in pressures. The sack numbers weren't there, but that doesn't really show you his value as a pass rushing interior defensive lineman. He was really starting to come into his own. That was his first full healthy year. I think you saw some of that potential that made him a second round pick. Now, that said, signing him for 1 year, $4 million, 4.5, whatever it was, I was kind of shocked by that a year ago. And then I don't know if that was kind of floating out there before they gave him that contract, but it makes a little bit more sense after the fact, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now that said, he's a good player. So we know how the Lions are with these injured players. They tend to give these guys another chance. Marcus Davenport, who's it? Emmanuel Mosley. They give these guys probably more of a leash than they probably should get. But a guy like Levi, who if you can get him on whatever his contract is, it was still a cheap deal. So if that just rolls over, I'd be fine keeping him and just saying, hope for the best, while still trying to bring back a Roy Lopez, trying to bring extra depth in there, especially if DJ Reader leaves in free agency. So I wouldn't hate that move at all. I think it's a move they probably would have made regardless if this, rule was a thing or not, just bringing him back, just knowing their history with this sort of thing. But if he can stay healthy, I know it's a big if and nobody likes hearing that if, but he is a good player and they trust him and they know what he's all about. So that seems like a typical Lions move to me.
Yeah. That's, people might crash out about that. Speaking of that, I know last week I had a lot of that, but at what they're getting paid, it's if they bring something to the table, cool. You know what I'm saying? If they don't, I mean, Brad knows already what he has to do on this defensive line because it does need a little bit of work. We appreciate the hell out of you, Colton. I didn't know you were on vacation. So you're doing us a solid, which I appreciate the hell out of. You guys can check out Colton, of course, on X at Colton_Pouncy. You can check out his podcast as well. Welcome to Detroit Pod. Check out Lions Collective every single Wednesday. We'll be live to chop it up. But until next time, Colton, we appreciate that of you, my man. Enjoy your vacation.
Absolutely. Yeah, anytime, guys. Thanks.
Hey, thanks,
there Colton. You go. Colton Pouncy joining the show, talking to the fellas here. More stuff to get to, which, by the way, we can get to the Levi stuff now if you want, or we can get to it next because I know we want to talk Jared Goff and Drew Petzing. So we'll get to the Levi and Josh thing. I'm kind of in the same boat on Colton as that. So that's kind of my grasp on it. It's confusing. It really is. I
have no clue. My guess, and honestly, I think this is a positive, is how Colton mentioned a rollover. The one thing that I read that I think Justin Rogers, one of the other collective guys, shout out Justin Rogers, he put a tweet out there, Jeff, and I'll just read it off real quick because this was I think the tweet that kind of maybe made a little bit of an explanation on the contract side of things. He said the base salary and bonuses carry over exactly as they were. So $1.5 million base and up to $500K per game bonus and up to 1.5. So up to $1.5 million in bonuses. This is Levi, by the way. And he said, I didn't get clarity on the SB hits, but it doesn't matter. If it hit last year, it's gone. And if it didn't, it's rolled over to this year and now it's gone. So, you know what I'm saying? So essentially there's no cap hit. I would think there's no cap hit for either one of those guys because you either took it on last year or if you didn't take it on last year, you had that little bit of extra because of them. It rolled over to the next year and then it essentially cancels out. So it's essentially like getting those two guys, which I mean, for the people who think that Brad and them might not be great with contracts and this kind of proves you wrong because it's actually kind of a smart move because I would think you're kind of getting them free of a cap hit. Well, and they're two guys who do make an impact at the end of the day as rotational pieces on the D line when healthy.
I'm not sure how it works. I would assume that if the CBA which has to be agreed upon, I believe, between players and owners. So it's like they come together and agree. If this was something that was going to be put into the CBA and the agreement, that there would be something to kind of benefit the team. Like what you're saying, like maybe a player, if they're on the PUP list or the non-football related injury list, they carry over, but then there's something to where maybe like you're saying, maybe the cap hit isn't like there's got to be
because if you think like someone in there said you still get the cap hit. Like I don't know. Like if you again, let's give it an example. Let's say both of them were a $2 million cap hit last year, which I don't think was the case, but let's say there were $2 million. So let's say $4 million. You would have got hit with that last year in 2025, correct? But you throw them on this list, you essentially get that $4 million back to where it carries over to next year, and you get that carryover cap, and then next year you get hit with the $4 million, but you also got $4 million extra carried over from the year before. Doesn't that just cancel out? No? Am I crazy?
You would think like that's
that's how I would think it would work.
It's confusing. I really don't know.
Yeah, that's how I would think it works, to where you really don't get hit with that. And someone said it's not really smart. Well, I mean, they probably could have cut those two guys and just moved on. But I think I see what you're saying. I don't know. I think in my mind, it's just, I've said this a lot with Levi and Josh Pascal, Jeff, like when Aiden came back, and then obviously, hopefully they sign or draft an edge. But those guys 2 years ago, when Hutch was hurt, they were your starting edge rushers essentially, right? Like those were your two guys. They were your two main guys. Marcus Davenport got hurt and Hutch got hurt. They were solid. Like Levi O is a solid pass rusher, and he's a solid run stopper too. Josh Pascal is an elite run stopper, which pass rush, maybe not there, but he's a really, really, really good run stopper. I think this last year you could see that you missed those two type of guys. That's why you got ran on for a lot of yards last year. I think bringing them back as rotational pieces, I'm never against those two guys. I know a lot of people disagree because of the injuries and they expect them to be start. As your fifth, sixth guys getting paid $1.5 million, and maybe the cap hit is even lower. Dude, I think that's a steal. And they're not like Marcus.
They are role players. That's really what they are. I mean,
and they're not like Marcus Davenport, where it's every year they're hurt. They had a year where they were both hurt. The year before, they were both healthy for 17 games. Like they were both there the whole season. So you can get a full season out of them.
Yeah, I'm going to back up what you're saying, because me and you have been in the same boat with injured players. This has nothing to do with being excited about the impact. Like Josh and Levi are going to change this D-line. What you're saying is those two players are depth pieces that people, like, I think we're both on the same page. We were upset with those two players because they weren't able to stay healthy for a majority. They were healthy at points, but we were okay walking away from them this offseason. Now they're just going to be here. They're going to be here. So we're already past that. Now it's just like, okay, like Levi, like you said, out of the two, Levi's actually the better player. Like I'm not going to sit here and say Levi's.
And Josh is good against the run, which you were terrible at this last year.
So you're not lying when you say like they're going to have some impact. It's just people, I think, were so frustrated because of what they should have been that people want to walk away from them. But I'm not going to argue they won't impact. I mean, they're going to have some sort of impact. There'll be depth. I mean, that's what they are. They're depth. Like
and again, it's essentially, and someone put it in there. If the cap hit doesn't roll over and it cancels out and there's no cap hit, the cap hit's essentially veteran minimum. Which those two guys, like I would think, perform when they're healthy higher than a vet minimum, in my opinion. Like,
what is it, like $3 million between the two or something like that?
Yeah, it's nothing, dude. Now, if they were both like $4 or $5 million cap hits, and you're like, oh man, like you can go out and get different guys, or that's a Monty deal or something. Like I don't know if you can afford it, but when you are essentially having to pay all these guys extremely high contracts and you still have to extend guys, there are going to be, and this was the argument I had last year, I think with Klotz, where every time there was a contract like this done, Klotz would just get super, super mad and freak out. But it was like, sometimes I don't think fans and people understand. You have to have, if you have the contracts that you have on this current roster, Jeff, you have to have deals like this on your team. You have to have veteran minimum guys. And whether you like them or not, like, you cannot get mad when Brad signs guys for $1.5 million for this. Like, they're essentially just role player guys, low level guys. And if you get good production out of them, it's good. And I would say, in my opinion, off of the price that you get these two guys for, their production exceeds what you're paying for them when healthy.
Yep.
Keyword, when healthy. But their play will exceed, if they're healthy, what you pay for them. It's the same thing like Roy Lopez. AG put it in there. It's like Roy Lopez. You paid cheap and you got a lot of production out of him. You probably can't pay cheap anymore, but you have to find guys like that. When healthy, Levi O gives production, man. He does. So does Josh Pascal in the run game. They do, and you cannot deny that at all.
Yeah, I'm not. They're depth moves. It is what it is. I'm not. They're here, so you cut them if you want. Here's where I'll be upset. It's not even about them returning. It is what it is because the price is. I don't really care. The price is cheap. Where I'm at is if them coming back. What Brad has done in the past, and the problem we've had with Brad is these guys being re-signed. And Brad not making a move because he's confident in the guys he's resigning with injury issues. Like when he resigns Davenport, when he resigns Levi, when he resigns, whoever, it doesn't matter who it is. And then you're like, well, we're good. We have depth. No, like that's where the problem comes into play. Like, okay, Josh and Levi are coming back. It doesn't change the fact you still need to go out and add another pass rusher. Like I think Levi could be probably a rotational pass rushing defensive tackle. But that's like, it is what you're still going to try and re-sign Roy. So it doesn't really change anything for me that they're returning. It's just, it comes down to like, if Brad were to re-sign, like Davenport again and be like, oh, we're good on the edge. Well, then, yeah, you have every right to be pissed off. That's why we were mad, dude. It's because he's bringing these guys back that are injury prone and then he doesn't do anything. Like that's where people were pissed. Like re-signing Emmanuel Mosley and then being like, no, that could be a corner guy. Like that could be an extra corner. No, it can't, dude. He's going to be hurt. Like that's where people get frustrated. I don't think it changes his approach, having Levi.
No, having Levi and Josh. The problem that I would run into, and I would change, change my voice and my tone in regards to it really quick. If he's expecting Levi and Josh to be that starting edge rusher across from Hutch. Yeah. If he goes out here in this free agency and he doesn't go after another edge rusher, or if he doesn't go after more D-line and he doesn't draft D-line, or he waits like he did last year, if he does that, Jeff, then yeah, my tone will change. If we go into this 2026 season with your top three is Aiden Hutchinson, Levi O, and Josh Pascal, then yeah, that's I'm gonna have an issue with that. And people, I'm glad I'm saying this because you can't clip me and be like, well, Booner, you liked it. No, I did like it with those guys being your 5th, 6th options and your rotational pieces. That's why they're getting paid $1.5 million base salary. It's because that's where they are. You need to still go out there and find those $5, $6 million guys that are also going to be out there with Hutch, and they're gonna be above them. That's how I look at it. And I'm with you. I hope it doesn't change his approach. I hope just because these guys are returning, he's not like, oh, we're actually covered in that spot. We're good to go. Like, no, you're not. You're actually not. Because what happens if one of those guys does go down, which they have a history of?
Yep.
It goes both ways. He's like, see, that's the problem I think with Brad a little bit, is Brad's the type of guy that, Jeff, who's like, well, what if he is, like Marcus Davenport, what if he is healthy? Think about the production week. Well, Brad, what if he's not healthy?
He's glass half full guy.
Yeah, like you got to, as a GM, you got to think about it both ways. You have to. And he seems like he doesn't. Sometimes he's just like, man, well, look, if he is healthy, golly, man. Woo.
Like
Jiminy Crickets.
Training camp?
Yeah, man. Good. Imagine if he's healthy all year. Well, okay, Brad, devil's advocate. What if he's not healthy, Brad? Oh, well, we don't think about things like that. Well, that's your job.
Yep, that's true. By the way, Jared Goff commented on Drew Petzing. I want to show you this because
I thought you were about to say, the way you just did that, I thought you were about to say like breaking news. Jared Goff commented on Crunch Time, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, he said we are a make a move slappies. That's basically what he
Imagine if Jared did do that. Oh,
he said on Drew Petzing, there's going to be a blend of what he likes, what I like, what Saint likes, what J-Mo likes, and everybody. I think he was a home run hire. That's what he turned. By the way, Dave Burkett is on like a worldwide tour, dude.
Yeah, I was just messaging you on the side.
Bowl. He's at the Pro Bowl.
He's everywhere, dude. And Dave is so good. We met him last year, and he's an incredible dude. He does such a good job. I was going to message you on the side. If you want to pull his article up, there's so many quotes in there. I when I tweeted this, I just took at least the parts that I thought were the most interesting. But Jared had a lot to say. Like he actually, in his article should be at the bottom. I commented underneath.
I
know you did. I know you did. You know you did it. You did it already.
I didn't think we would have this issue, but I can get it. I can get it back. I didn't.
Yeah, we need it back. We need it back.
I didn't think we would have.
We had a month. We had a whole month.
Yeah,
you're right. It was a whole month, dude. We paid for the first month.
Okay, we're such.
We're for people who don't know, dude. By the way,
we're good.
I had a free press, and they do a good. Dude, Dave Burkett does a good job again. But I had a subscription, and I thought it was $1. And for months, dude, all of a sudden it just started hitting me for like $30. And I was like, what's happening? Why am I getting charged $30 from the free press? And what you don't realize is when you subscribe to them, it's only like a month or two for $1. And then they hit you with the 30 after or the 20 after or whatever. They really get you there, dude.
Yeah, they do.
But we got it. It's on crunch time.
So yeah, we were good. We're good. So yeah, Dave Burkett wrote this article. Shout out to him it's on the Free Press. But he spoke about the offense and Drew Petzing, and he dug into kind of how they're going to reshape the playbook with the new offensive coordinator. And he said not from the ground up, but it's always a reconstruction process to some degree, regardless of if it's the same coordinator or not. You go back, you look at what you were good at, you look at what you weren't good at, and how you'd like to change certain things, whether it's verbiage or process. So yeah, you do all that stuff with him. He said that Petzing's addition is a home run hire for a Lions team that was tied for fourth in the NFL in scoring last season, but lacked consistency down the stretch. It says the Lions scored 24 fewer points in 5 of the last final 8 games, going 3-5 during that stretch to miss the playoffs for the first time since 2022. St. Brown said he's excited to work with Petzing after talking briefly with the new coordinator following his hire. He said, I talked a little bit to Trey McBride, St. Brown said. Obviously, Trey loves him. He had a record year, but Trey said he likes him. He's smart. He's detailed. So, I think he'll be great for us, which is interesting, actually. I would, of course, Trey McBride would love him. The guy had an incredible season.
Career year, yeah.
Yeah, he had an incredible season. It says Petzing spent the last 3 seasons calling plays for the Cardinals, whose offense achieved varying degrees of success. And then here we go. I like this. Goff spoke with Cardinals quarterback Jacoby Brissett, his draft classmate from 2016, about Petzing and got rave reviews. Brissett ranked among the NFL passing leaders after taking over for the injured Kyler Murray in Arizona. It says here, everyone I've spoke to about him prior to him being hired was glowing. In particular, quarterbacks who have played for him were glowing. I think the thing that excites me the most is going to be his versatility. He's not tied to an offense. We're going to kind of run what we are best at and what we should be doing, which some of the stuff we've done the last few years, that's worked. And then I think he's got the right personality and demeanor and teaching ability, and most importantly, his intelligence and mental dexterity, for lack of a word. To be able to kind of handle not only the complexities of what we're trying to do, but like getting the ball to guys. That's the hardest part of our offense. We've got so many mouths to feed, and to be able to spread it around in an efficient way. Goff said he expects the Lions to change some of their offensive terminology under Petzing, but nothing that should be a challenge for their veteran roster. Goff said it's hard to express to somebody that isn't in it. Like, we've had Ben Johnson for 3 years, and there would be terminology that would change in off seasons with him too. Goff said he watched a ton of Cardinals tape to get acquainted with Petzing's style, and said there should be some crossover with how the Lions approach running the ball, given Petzing's familiarity with Lions offensive line coach Hank Fraley from their time with the Minnesota Vikings. Goff said, I think he speaks every language, and that's kind of the good thing. He understands what we're saying from a pass game standpoint and how we want to do things, how he wants to do things. By no means is he going to be running our stuff or running his offense, but there's going to be there's going to be a certain blend of what I like and what he likes, what St. Brown likes, what JMO likes, and everybody. He said he's done it before. He's been a coordinator. He's called plays, and I think he was a home run hire, and I'm really excited for him. So you had Lions guys doing research over there, eh? Talking to Pro Bowlers, talking to guys that were a part of the offense, like doing their own little due diligence, I guess.
Yeah.
About the hire.
It sounds like everyone in that building loves it, which it fires me up. It does, and I know it's like their job to be like, oh yeah, we love it. It feels like more so Jared Goff is like, hey, this is actually a step up. And there were some quotes in there, and typically, you know, guy like Jared Goff wouldn't say anything bad about John Morton, this, that. It feels like some of those comments were like, hey, we're actually going to do things that we're good at. We're actually going to get the ball to some guys. That's how I took it. I don't know if you took it the same way, but there was some John Morton, it felt like he was trying to change things up, running the ball less, and as well as taking these deep shots, do this. It was like, hey, that's not what we're fully great at. Like, that's not our bread and butter. But he was like so excited to have, you know, Jameson Williams and all these weapons where he just maybe got too a little like, oh, and it's like, wait, Drew Petzing, Jared gave me confidence, as he should. He's good in the PR, man. I mean, this guy is incredible PR. Jared Goff might like 101. He might be one of the greatest quarterbacks ever when it comes to talking to the media.
Oh, you know how good he is in PR? Here's what he said last year about John Morton. Let's take a listen.
Oh no.
Motions, routes, run plays, protections, you know, I can keep going, cadences, ways you get in and out of the huddle. A lot of the stuff we're doing in those 8 things I just named is the same, and some of it's different. So it's hard to answer that question when, you know, what's different. Some of it's the exact same, and some of it is a little bit different. And I'm not going to go into the minutia of what is different, but I think the transition from what we were doing last year to him is a lot lesser than you guys are making it seem with the questions, I believe. Like, I get that question every day. A lot of it is the same. And then there's some stuff that we're learning that is new, and it's not that big of a gap between those two, I guess. And I'm sorry if that didn't answer what you asked, but
don't believe it. He seemed more confident with Drew Petzing.
It's been a fun challenge.
More confident with Drew Petzing. I could tell by the words on the paper.
No, I'm doing that. It's more of a joke.
How did you find that so fast? Did you like?
I had it up. I was gonna play it.
Did you like go research that today?
Yeah, you set me up perfectly for that because you were like, he's so good in PR, and I was like, good, I already have a clip line.
He's great at PR, dude. He's so good at
what do you think? Because this is where I'm at with it. Like, obviously, I've already stated this isn't to me to like crap on Drew Petzing. What I mean by that is we gotta be careful. Not you, but some fans that are like, because I think we've been pretty fair on how we've approached Drew Petzing. But there's fans that are like, see, Jared Goff says this. Jared Goff, you know, he's gonna love the guy because he got a chance to. He weighs in on choosing the OC. You know what I'm saying? So if he likes him and Dan likes him, they hire him. He had say in John Morton as well. You know, he liked him. There's familiarity. It didn't work out. I'm not saying Jared's like an idiot or anything. I'm just saying like he's not going to be perfect either. So
yeah,
you know, like I think with Drew Petzing, what I'm more excited about is everything that they talked about in that article. I think what he does, they didn't say anything that was a lie. You know, like the offense he ran. He is younger. I think what people say about him, at least among the NFL coaches, is true. That there are things to really like about Drew Petzing. You know, I think the hire came out of nowhere, so people are obviously taken back by that. But I don't think he's John Morton. But I just wanted to bring that video up to be like, okay, just because Jared Goff likes him doesn't mean the guy's an automatic home run hire. And Jacoby Brissett, you talked to Joe Kobe and Trey McBride, which, like, again, those two balls.
Give the guy a little credit. Like, what do you like? You want Jared to go out there and like last year with John Morton, be like, no, yeah, there's some bad things going on here. Like, he was always going to, but like Drew Petzing, I'm telling you, man. Like, you got to. Okay, I need you to be
excited.
Fair.
I'm more excited.
Can I have you be a little? Let me call you out a little bit. You called Jared out. Saying last year you were like, well, John Morton, why hasn't he been an OC? Why don't Drew Petzing was an OC and he didn't get fired. His head coach did, and then he was sitting there like, well, now what? Like and he had an offense that he was hard for him to be able to even use because the top basically 7 players were injured all year long. Quarterback injuries, RB1, RB2 injured. Like, constant issues going on. Offensive line constantly injured. So, dude, I want you to be fair. Your pushback with an OC was, I want someone who has been an OC, and there's a reason why people want him to be. Drew Petzing is that. Like what you wanted last year. He is that. He wasn't a John Morton that just completely failed as an OC, and then for like 10 years, everyone's like, yeah, we don't want him as our OC. That was John Morton.
Yeah, John Morton was way worse of a...
And then people, even including myself, tried to convince you, oh, no, trust me, dude, he's still a good offensive mind. Like, maybe he wasn't. But Drew Petzing, offensive mind, people want him to be an OC. He's been an OC recent. He's found success in a bad situation. You talked about earlier in the show how bad of a situation Arizona is. He found a little bit of success for a couple years there. I think it's a good fit, dude. I do. And I was one of the people who started off at the beginning like, it was a name that we didn't hear, like very weird. But as you dig deeper into it, this isn't me trying to be a slappy, or you dig deeper into it, Jeff.
You're not being a slappy.
It feels like, okay, it feels like it's one of those meshing, you know, like you sometimes you want to try and find the next Ben Johnson, or you want to find, the big name. You really want to find a guy that meshes well with the players and the coaches. He feels like that's kind of what that hire was.
Yes. I don't think if you like the hire, you're a slappy or you're dumb or anything like that. And actually, like I said, I don't hate the hire at all. I don't. I understand the fit. I think he does a lot of things well the Lions want to do. So I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited. I don't want to get into an argument with you about whether or not he won't work out or not. I think the only skepticism I have is he is everything we asked for in terms of experience, young, innovative. Like we joke with Caleb about if he had a head of hair, but that's all jokes. Like he's a younger, innovative guy. That's where the league's kind of heading. The thing that he lacked that I was a little more intrigued by among candidates is more of a resume when it comes to like production, with offenses. But maybe you can chalk that up to situation, and that'll be answered this year because he's in a much better situation. That's just where I'm skeptical, but that'll be proven once he's calling plays. I talked about it. I want to see him just situationally. This team needs it because I love Dan, but he's not the greatest he doesn't have the best situational awareness. So I think what helped him is having Ben, who's he's kind of like the boy genius with Dan, where he can kind of, where Dan was lacking in areas, Ben can kind of out. I hope Drew can be that. Drew's a bright guy, obviously. So that's what Dan needs. And no offense to John, I don't think John's like that boy genius. I think he just works his tail off. And I don't think that's what they need. I think they need like a
smart guy,
smart dude, like
who can
smart guy.
I think Drew Petzing is that. I mean, the man was like at Harvard for a year.
And Dan's not dumb, but you get what I'm saying.
BC, like he's a very smart coach. And like Jared actually brought that up in the article when he spoke today in regards to it. Like he brought up like like how smart he is. And being able to like, again, like John Morton, he does work his tail off and he loves the game and he's a film junkie and they say he slept in the facility and all of that. Sometimes it's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because you work your tail off and you want to be great, but also it could be a bad thing because maybe you don't have, again, you're not as smart. So you have to make it up other ways. And sometimes it's harder to make it up those ways. You know what I mean? And that's
I think there's roles in an organization on offense where John could thrive. I just don't think offensive coordinator is that role. Like it's just, I think he's a grinder, tape watcher. Like I think Drew Petzing has way better shot of succeeding as an OC, clearly.
And
way better shot.
The cherry on top of all of this on the offense, I said it a couple of weeks ago, is the Mike Kafka thing, because now you have another OC mind in there. Again, Mike Kafka, very smart coach as well.
Went to Northwestern.
Yes, very smart coach to where if maybe something's going wrong, you have another voice, a high level voice in there being like, hey, this is how I did it, or this is how we've done it with Brian Dable or wherever he's been, and then also too, what people forget, like Dan's still going to be part of this offense. Like that's why I think a lot of people do kind of freak out a little, like a new offense. Like Jared said in that article, like, there's going to be new things to this offense. And I don't know if you might have read it. I mean, I was just I have ADHD. So sometimes I get distracted. But like Jared actually brought up, and this is something we've never heard. He even said like, hey, what you guys don't know, when Ben Johnson stayed, even years he stayed, we were changing up terminology in the playbook. just as much as we would with the new OC. And he was like, some people don't realize that. Like we didn't use the same playbook and the same terminology year after year with Ben Johnson. It changed every year because there's new personnel, there's different play calls. You have to think ahead. Like teams are going to scout you, and you have to always be moving. So I don't think that's as big of a deal as maybe we were making it out to be last year with John Morton.
Right. I agree. I agree with that. I don't think the change of verbiage I don't think that's going to be some like.
These guys are pros for a reason.
Yeah, that you dude. I mean, I heard this too. Like people don't understand this. A lot of the league is using the same plays. They're all different verbiage, different. Like in one system, this play or this route might be referred to as they might have a different verbiage for this. Like it's all just how they say things. It's a lot of the same language. It's just like altered a little bit. So it's not like some like crazy foreign language Drew Petzing's coming to the Lions with. Where like Goff's like, what?
I've never heard that football term in my life.
I've never heard that. It's all, dude. It's football at the end of the day. I mean, these guys have been playing most of their lives, so it's not gonna,
If anything, Jeff, Drew Petzing brings more that maybe he doesn't know, like some things that they can learn and do. And then Jared's like, hey, well, we've done it this way, and now you're adding more to it, and you're getting better. That's a positive. Maybe I'm just thinking. Maybe I'm just too optimistic.
No, I don't think. Listen, I don't have an issue with people being optimistic. That's what makes the show great. I tend to be more pessimistic at times. I'm fully aware of that. This is something where I'm not like Drew Petzing's going to fail. I'm not going to go that far. I think last year it was pretty certain John Morton was not a good hire based on there was a lot of question marks, a ton. This one, it's like there's only okay, he doesn't have maybe a resume of top 5 offenses. That's okay. That's really it. I mean, a lot of players like him, bright guy. A lot of coaches he's worked under like him.
People should be confident too, because as bad as John Morton was, even when he lost play calling, I think you said this before, they lost play calling, they still were scoring 30 points a game.
Yeah, they were just, you know what I said the other day though, or last week. That's why I'm not worried about they're going to be top 5 in scoring. I want to see them situationally. That's where they sucked last year.
Those third downs, red zones.
It has nothing to do with the points per game or the yards. Dude, Jared's going to throw for 4,500. Amon-Ra's going to get his 13-14. That stuff's all going to happen. I'm looking for, Steve just said, consistency. How are you situationally? Third down, red zone, third quarters coming out, coaching. I want to see that with Drew Petzing. And that's what you got to see with Ben. Hate to keep bringing him up, but he's the only good OC that the Lions have had. So you have to keep using him as an example. But that's all I'm looking for. They'll be fine. You say this all the time. It's if we're really being honest, this offense, dude, unless they're making boneheaded plays situationally, they're going to put up points, dude. They just are. As long as Brad repairs the O-line, they're going to be able to score. It's really, can you not allow other teams to score? That's really the question with this team. Can you prevent scoring? You can score. Can you prevent
defense,
scoring?
Dude? It's that defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's you average 30 a game and John Morton, he loses play calling. And those small moments that your offense typically would bail your defense out, those third quarters going over, 3 and outs. That's where Dan's I want to fix those. But you're essentially dude, I said it during the season, man. You're essentially wanting your offense to just be perfect. That's what you're expecting because your defense wasn't giving you anything. I saw someone in there say Dan Campbell actually had a worse record as an OC than John Morton. And it's that was because the defense just
that was
nowhere when they and it was just it was just bad timing, it felt in regards to Dan and that. So the offense, I don't think it had anything to do with the offense. It was always the defense.
Yeah.
But there is definitely like people are saying in the chat, the situational moments, those and the consistency, those were the two things that were really noticeable. And I think the Demont thing and again, I push back on Dan on that. Dan would go in the press conferences and be like, yeah, I want to get Demont more involved. Dude, you're the one play calling. You have authority to be able to do it. Yeah. And he still was saying that, and he wasn't getting them involved. And it was all right, you need to get someone in here like Ben Johnson Ben did it, dude. Ben did it so good too with DeAndre Swift and Common Guy in Chicago.
They give him drives.
Yes, and they went away from that. And I really, I want to go back and you know what I'm going to do in the next couple of weeks? I want to go back and watch some Cardinals film and just see what Drew Petzing did with the two running backs that they had. Like, especially when James Conner was healthy. They had James Conner and who was the bat? Was it well,
this year Trey Benson got hurt. But I don't know who they had.
They had two backs last year, I remember. James Conner and someone else.
This past season? Like this season?
The year before when James Conner was healthy. I want to go back and see how he utilized them.
I'll tell you right now.
I'd be interested.
I'll tell you right now.
Did he do drives? How did he approach?
So they had James Conner and
was it Michael Carter?
Trey Benson. No, it was Trey Benson. Michael Carter was involved in that. They had DeMarcado. So they had like three backs behind Conner, basically. But
James Conner. Yeah, I would just be so interested to see how Drew Petzing wants to go about it with D-Mount. I think that should be, and we're going to be at the Combine. Hopefully we put in for media credentials. So hopefully we can get those, because then I think we might have an opportunity to speak with some of these guys as well. If not, we can ask the doc or someone to ask them. But I would be interested to see his approach when it comes to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, to see if that's something.
Snap count. Because I'll tell you right now, James Conner had 619 snaps. And then the next was, who was the running back? Was it? I think it was DeMarcado at 164. So they didn't. I'm curious. He's never really had two good backs like that. Maybe that'll be interesting to see. He's only had James Conner, dude. I mean, really, if you want to give him that.
This year would have been a lot better to get an idea. That's kind of what I was thinking in my mind. If you would have had James Conner and Michael Carter, might have been able
healthy
to get
Trey Benson. He got hurt too.
Healthy Trey Benson. Yeah. If you had a couple healthy backs there, you would have found out.
Yeah, you would have had more film there. Wheezy, appreciate the 5. He says we have people acting like they wanted a center in the Ja and Jack draft. People did the same with the TA draft. Relying on TA, Pascal, and Levi is responsible. Relying on them is not responsible. That's aggressive.
Having them as a rotational piece.
Yeah, relying on them is a completely different thing. That I think we just experienced 2 years of that, actually.
Like they just relied on Marcus Davenport.
Yeah, I think I'm cool with the relying, but I get what you're saying. I mean, yeah, you don't want to set, dude, like that Jack, Brian, Sam, like, well, okay. I mean, like, you're happy with those. TA, maybe you could argue Ennis. Maybe you could argue the center instead of Ennis. But I mean, even at the time, we were like, that guy's been injured a lot. It's not like it's time.
We were.
You're kind of skeptical. We were always skeptical, right, when he was taken.
Yeah, people brought up Ennis Rakestraw to us a few times, and
that's why he fell. Like, he was a projected first. Even Scott was on, and Scott's like, he's had injuries. Like Scott talked about it. He's had injuries. And they
I think we had our reaction to the Ennis one was really bad, and people were like,
yeah, we were like, oh.
We got a little pushback on that.
Dan, appreciate the $10. I'm with Jeff on this one. I can't remember what we were talking about. Probably maybe
me and you have been on the same page this whole time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe when I was bringing up why I was a little skeptical, or the Jared Goff or John Morton stuff. Probably appreciate the 10 though. Hey, appreciate you for supporting the show as well. We'll get to the Pride of Detroit's article, then we'll get to like the Pro Bowl stuff later, and then we'll talk about the first and second round thing tomorrow, because we're gonna have flannel on tomorrow. So we'll do the mock draft first and second round on ESPN tomorrow. We'll break it down. We could spend like 30 minutes on this thing. I mean, it's there's a lot, and then we'll have flannel on. So we'll do that. But Pride of Detroit had the article, which I thought was really interesting. It's a question for Lions fans. They wrote a whole article on what is more important for the Detroit Lions to bounce back: free agency or the NFL draft. For the Lions to get back to being contenders, what is more important for this year? Which I actually love that question, because to be honest, we talk about how they need both of them to go well. But if you really want to break it down and be like, okay, what needs to happen in free agency and what needs to happen in the draft, and what will have more of an impact on this team as it pertains to the season. To be honest, I'm not really mad at either answer. I would probably go the draft. I think the draft is more important, in my opinion. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad take to say that to say free agency, but I think the draft is so important because you could potentially find your answer at edge 2 and off in your left tackle or right tackle in one draft for the future. And those two positions are important for the future, but more than that, you could have, like the Seahawks just had, impactful players right away from the draft.
Yeah.
And with a team that is so cap strapped, I think immediate impact players that are cheap from the draft is going to be one of the more valuable things that any team can have in the NFL. So I think those first and second round picks, potentially more, just that front of the draft, having impactful players day one for you is gonna matter a lot. I'm not trying to say free agency isn't important because it is, but I think what they have to work with is kind of part of that. But that's where I'll go. I'll go draft. I'll take my stand now. I think the draft's going to be very important for this team.
I fully agree.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the chat saying free agency too.
I think the thing with free agency is you don't have the money that you've had in the past. You've paid so many people. And one of the things too is like you have to pay more guys this year and you're going to have to pay signing bonuses and you're going to have to rework contracts. And like right now, you're not guaranteed to have any. I mean, you're negative $8 million in cap space going into 2026. So you have to find a way to restructure and find money to where just like statistically and like numbers wise, Jeff, you just don't have the money to even make that big of an effect when it comes to the free agency. Like as much as people want to, and we would love to go out there and get some of the top free agents, and you would love to go out there and make some splash moves, unless you cut some guys or make some moves or trade some guys and get rid of some contracts and move things around and open up a ton of money, you're just not going to have the opportunity. Like if I'll tell you what, if you're banking on free agency to be the one that's going to make the most impact and is the most important, you're going to, I'll say it how it is, Jeff. Those people are going to be highly disappointed in free agency. Like you're setting yourself up to be disappointed. You really are. To where if you go into free agency and you're like, all right, we know we don't have the money. We know we're paying our own guys. And Brad does make a move. Okay, now, wait a second. He's cooking, right? Like right now, you should not have any expectation of them. And I think a lot of Lions fans, that's where people get mad and go wrong, to where like last year with the Trey Hendrickson thing. I just saw someone put the name Trey Hendrickson in there. I didn't see the chat went by too quick. I don't know if they were saying to sign him or not. Like you just don't have the money to do it. That was why last offseason I was getting so mad at the Trey Hendrickson stuff, is because the reason Trey wasn't playing is because he wanted to get paid. And he ended up signing a 1-year deal. And as soon as he signed that 1-year deal, I said, okay, and then I would trade for him. But if he wants a long-term deal, you don't have the money to do it. It's impossible. You're setting yourself up for failure as a fan for expectations. And I think with the draft, you're guaranteed those picks, man. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, you are.
It has nothing to do with cap space. It has nothing to do with like you have to open up the money. You have to go out there and find the picks. You have a first and second round pick, guaranteed. Whether you trade out, trade up, trade back, whatever you do with them, you have them. And those, you can get impactful players in the first 2 rounds and in the top 90 picks if you approach the draft correctly. And we've seen Brad do it. Jeff, perfect example. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch. Like Brad Holmes has gone out there and has gotten all-pro players and has gotten Pro Bowlers in year 1 and starters in year 1 in the first 90 picks. And he's done it over and over. And he's missed on it the last 2 years. You're guaranteed at least 2 picks in the top 90 this year.
Yep.
That's almost 2 starters you can get. And if you do it right, Jeff, like he's done in the past, you potentially could get 2 Pro Bowlers. That he's done. He's gotten rookies to be Pro Bowlers in the first 2 rounds. Where you can't just go out there today. This is where people, again, you can't go out there in a month when free agency opens up and go sign a Pro Bowler. You can't. You don't have the money to do it. You have to find cheap.
That's a great point.
Yeah, you have to find cheap deals in free agency. In the draft, you can legit find starters in the first 2 rounds. And he's done it. That's why I think it's more important. And I think this year it's even more important to where you trade back in that first round, Jeff, and get in the back half of the first round. And if you add another top 90 pick, you give yourself another opportunity to get a starter. And you give yourself a chance to actually, and I know people don't want to hear it, but to miss on a pick. to where you can go 2 for 3, right? You can maybe take a swing and go 2 for 3 instead of having like the pressure of like, we have to go 2 for 2 with, these first 2 picks. So I'm lockstep with you, man. I think it's the draft. And I think it's because you're guaranteed those picks.
We don't know. I agree 1,000% because it's like you brought up the Lions example, which is the number one example to bring up with having, Jameer, Jack, Sam, and Brian, all first and second round guys impactful. You can bring up the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Their second round pick had a pick in the Super Bowl. Cooper DeJean, who was a second round pick. Quinion Mitchell played well for them year one. Like, you can have impactful players right away from the draft that are very, very good for you right away. Now, will you? Who knows? But you can. It's possible, So I agree with you. I think, the reality of it is the money, like you said, to go get a Pro Bowler is going to be tricky. Like, let's say, for example, this is why I think it's the draft. For example, let's say Taylor Decker retires. You don't have a left tackle. Okay, well, let's move Pide. Okay, you don't have a right tackle. Giovanni Manu's not going to be your right tackle. Who's going to be your right tackle? Do you, A, feel comfortable going out in free agency and signing a, right tackle? And it's not going to be a very good one. You don't have the funds to go give a guy like a really good tackle. I don't even think there's like great tackles. There is, I think, the one out of with the Colts that he's probably going to re-sign, but there's not a lot of options. Or could you go get one at 17 and be a day one starter for you? And I think could play better than some of these like bridge guys in free agency that you have to kind of, go and grab. Like, I really do it. Again, Brad has to do it. It doesn't mean it's guaranteed that these draft picks are going to be productive and work out. But I like the potential of these I love the potential of the draft, but I love what draft guys can do for you right away. It's very possible. So I'm with you. I think the draft's super important. Should they go get a center? Yeah. Could you go get a linebacker? Someone? Yeah. Like a safety guy? Yeah. Like an extra safety. But you could really hit on an all-pro guy at 17. Like, you really could, man. Like, we saw guys in the first round. Like, I actually went back the last 2 years. I was just while you were talking. And I wanted to see the Lions have the 17th pick and the 50th pick. And I wanted to see who those picks were the last 2 years, just out of curiosity. Last year's draft, it was 2 tight ends, so it's probably not the best example. It's Tyler Ward and Elijah Aurora for the Seahawks. But I went to 2024. It was Fuaga, the tackle for the Saints, and at 17. And then at 50 was your guy, Mikey Sanderstill. So, like, imagine having, like, those 2 guys right away at 17 and 50.
Great picks.
Starting tackle, starting safety,
yeah.
Bang. And look at what they're doing now. I mean, they're good players. So
I think Brad, dude, I'll tell you this, Jeff. I have a little confidence in what Brad said in his post-season press conference when he said draft-wise he has to get back to what he was doing before. I think it was so obvious that he switched something up in the last 2 drafts. And I think everyone saw it. Yeah. I think it's clear. And I think and as much as people want to say this, and honestly, we all pushed back at Brad the last 2 years where Brad always said BPA. And he said, I never go need in the draft. The last 2 years, he's gone need. Like, I don't know why the Ty League one, maybe not as much as need, but that might have been smartest man in the room situation. And he maybe thought DJ Reed's leaving. All right, we need a replacement. Let's go Ty League. But then even the year before, it was like, yeah, it was clear we needed a corner. And he went corner because of need. And that might not have been the best player at that position, right? Like, this last year, BPA, Jahad Campbell, like, that's what it was.
The best player. I mean,
and it's just you do it, and I think everyone in the world knew it. And I think Brad, hindsight, I think he realized what he did, and he'll never go out there because you lose the fan base, and you lose confidence. Right, yeah, and as is your job, you can't go out there and say that. We've messed up at our job, Jeff, and we're not going to be like, hey, that's not like, no, obviously you have to try and keep that going, so your fan base has faith in you. But I do think him making the comment at the end of this season of being like, I have to get back to what we were doing in the draft before. Like, I have to go back. I think he realizes he went away from BPA. And I think this year, I think he just needs to go BPA. And I know I said I want to tackle. I think this is such a good tackle draft to where your BPA probably is a tackle, but you have to do it. And don't try and be smartest guy in the room and, I don't know, go safety or go, if there's a worse edge rusher in the first round, like, get him in the second round, man. Like, just be smart and go get your best players. Get back to what you did your first 3 drafts. That's what he has to do. Especially at those positions. Like, you just named dudes at those 2 positions. You can find dudes.
We had a question, Lions 57 at 17. Would you be okay with the defensive end from Miami? Think you're probably thinking of Massador.
Yeah, I think he was going to be there in the second, to be honest. I
think his age is, he's going to be there. I don't think he's going to be a top 20 pick. I think that's. Yeah,
and if you really loved him, then move back and pick him up. It's not going to be one of those situations.
I saw Spenny and Easy talk about him. It was so funny. I think Spenny was like, Easy's like, yeah, you draft him, you can get better. And Spenny's like, how much better? The guy's 26. He's like, dude, the guy's going to be 30 by the time he gets paid or whatever. I'm like, and he started laughing. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I think age, whether people want to believe it or not, man, besides quarterback, you could probably argue age isn't as big of a deal because you're getting a seasoned guy. People look at age. It's like they want to see how much better you can get. You know what I'm saying? Like, it matters. So I think I'm actually with Booner on that. I think he'll probably be someone you probably could let fall a little bit.
If you really love him, again, just trade back.
I mean, we don't know. The combine obviously can change things, but yeah, trade back, like you said. Yeah, you could do that.
Just be smart. Don't try and.
Messador's like 30 with kids. Okay,
come on, man.
That's like, hey, I mean,
if you want an impactful player, like instantly, I said it a couple weeks ago. Like he can step. Messador will step in and
he has a lot of experience.
Yeah, like he's not a guy where you're like, oh, you're gonna wait. Like a lot of Lions fans do want starters right away. He will be right away an impactful player because he is 26 or 5 or 4, whatever he is.
Yeah, that's fair. You wanted to mention David Montgomery today. We're gonna get to the Pro Bowl. And then we have time. We'll get to some Detroit Pistons stuff. Stephen A. Smith yapping again. But what did you want to talk about today with D-Mon? Now, I'm curious as soon as you put it on there.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I keep seeing with the David Montgomery stuff, and I don't know. I don't know if people are being realistic with the D-Mon stuff. A lot of people are convinced that David Montgomery's gone, and it's like a lock for him to be gone. If I'm being honest, Jeff, like, if you want your offense to stay at what it is, I think you got to keep David Montgomery and you roll with them. Like,
are we talking about like Booner's lock him in the facility?
Yes.
Philly says he'll stay. Like,
I think he's going to stay. Like, I think he wants to stay. But when like this offense was at the best, and you know this, Jeff, you had a two-headed monster in the backfield. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, you want Jahmyr Gibbs? Like he's one of the best backs." Jahmyr Gibbs was just as good with David Montgomery. Your running back room and your offense was better when both of those guys are playing at a high level. That's a fact. And I know a lot of people, and you're one of these people, Jeff, that are like, well, you can draft a guy who's going to be cheaper. You're not going to draft a guy that's going to be as good as David Montgomery as your RB2.
D-Mon's fine. He's fine. He's
yeah, like you're not going to. And he's getting paid $8 million cap hit this year. It's not like he's like a $15 million cap hit guy. He's an RB1. Oh. And I know that's a higher cap hit for an RB2. But when you're talking about this efficiency of what he can do, and like you're talking about this offense with David Montgomery, I think, Jeff, offensively, I was thinking about it today because I saw a couple of comments of people like, let D-Mon go. We don't need. I don't think people realize the impact that a David Montgomery can have on this offense. You've seen it 2 years ago. You take a lot of heat off of Jahmyr Gibbs. He's one of the most he's one of the best, and I know he doesn't like to be called this, but one of the best power backs in the NFL. If you give him touches in the red zone, he punches it in almost every time. It's like a 90% hit rate. Yep. The price that you're getting on David Montgomery, $8 million, is your RB2, and the production you can get out of him. Jeff, I just don't see a world where you're just like, yeah, let's just move on. I don't. And I think it's important for them to prioritize keeping him in the building this next year and through his contract. And let him play out his contract. But I just don't think people realize sometimes what's the saying, Jeff, where it's like sometimes people ask for something and then they don't like the result. And they like, you know that term, or that's wish for? Yes. And I think that's a situation we're going to run into here with David Montgomery is, hey, the fan base is starting to turn on him a little bit. And there are people who are like, yeah, let's move on and let's get a younger guy, or let's go sign another RB2. Be careful what you wish for, because what you have currently is already unbelievable. I think this offensive staff and this new coordinator, they need to find a way to use David Montgomery like Ben Johnson did, and you keep that man in the building. You do not let a guy like that walk. You really don't. And if we're talking about money, I think David Montgomery is the least of those. He's $8 million. You know what I mean? You have guys you have Lee McNeil, who is worse at his position than David Montgomery is at his position, getting paid almost $26 million. You have different, there's money around DJ Reed. You just paid $18 million. David Montgomery at the running back position ranks higher than DJ Reed does at the corner position. He gets paid $8 million. I think it's just, you suck up the money in that position and you move forward, but you do not turn your back on David Montgomery. I just wanted to get that out there. I feel like we've talked about it, and we haven't had that conversation about keeping him. And I think people need to realize, like, dude, you have to have David Montgomery in this building. You do.
It's my favorite. I can always talk David Montgomery. I got no issue with that, because I always bring up the numbers of how they ended the season. Like, they averaged 42 yards a game. Like, that is absurd. He had more carries in 2024, missing 3 games than he did this year. Like that, and he averaged more yards a carry this year. Like, he was healthier, clearly. Like, it's absurd what they're doing to David. I mean, he got 716 yards in 17 games. Like, 700 yards, okay, like back in Chicago, he was getting like 800. 17 games, you're getting 700 yards, and you're that good of a back, something's wrong. Like, these guys get 700 yards that are, like, no offense, but like nowhere near David Montgomery. I mean, these guys, you can get 700 yards in the NFL playing running back if you're getting some carries. Like DeMont, though, and I bring this up all the time, which I think this is the biggest stat of why they need David. And my big point about like drafting a running back really applies to resetting a market with a running back. Like David, at the price he's making, he's a steal. Like
100%.
How he closed the year, his last 6 games, we talked about this before on the show. He averaged almost 5 yards a carry his last 6 games. Okay, so down the stretch, he only got double-digit carries once. He averaged 7 carries those 6 games. So he's getting 5 yards a carry. He's only averaging 7 carries a game. Jameer averaged 3 yards a carry his last 6 games. And he was averaging almost 15 carries, excuse me, not touches, 15 carries. So he's getting double the carries than Montgomery and giving them 2 less yards a carry. Like, and that, to me, that's coaching malfeasance. Like, that's like realizing, okay, this guy, you're not really riding the hot hand. You're not, that's not true. You're not riding the hot hand. You're just forcing it with somebody that you believe can, like Easy just put it, it's a perfect way to say it. You're scratching a lottery ticket. That's what you think Jahmyr Gibbs is. You're like, if we give him one more carry, it's like the Dan Gamble stuff. If we give him one more carry, he can probably break this for 60, 70 yards. But guess what? He just never did. He was just stopped. And you went away from the guy that got you a first down. They were getting you technically a first down every 2 carries. I mean, that's what the numbers would indicate. 4.8 basically, almost 5 a carry. So it's like, listen, I love Gibbs. I think Gibbs is a really talented running back. And he, obviously, the carry differential, like overall, Josh should be getting more touches because he's a weapon in the passing game. But they were not giving David his qualified carries, like what he deserved. They were not at all. He shouldn't be averaging 7 carries. That's ridiculous. It should be, they should be running the ball more. Obviously, they couldn't this year because of the O-line. But if the O-line's fixed and it's a better year, David should be getting minimum 10 carries a game. Minimum. Yep. Like, give Jameer 14. They should run the ball 25 times a game. Like, honestly, that's what they were about doing with them, with Ben Johnson and, when they had a better O-line. So when they repaired the O-line, I'm with you. Keep Demo. I think honestly, Drew Petzing is going to fight for that. I think he's going to want Demo there. And I think David should be excited to have Drew Petzing there because they're going to run the ball. But Jameer's a home run hitter. They're perfect. They fit perfectly together because they're different backs. Demont's a ground and pound, fight for yards, contact, all that. And Jameer's he's more of a finesse home run hitter. That's what they are. They fit perfectly.
I think some of the people too, like the argument for people with the Demont thing, like if you can't trade them, you can cut them. Like there is an opt out or an out in 2026 to where there's only 12 million dead cap, to where this year you pay 8 million. I believe next year it's like 10 million cap hit. But then I had it up here a second ago. So essentially it's if he plays this year for you, it's an $8.3 million cap hit, right, Jeff? If you move on from him this offseason, then it turns into a $4.8 million dead cap. So you're still, you're essentially saving $3 to $4 million this next year. In my opinion, is he worth saving? Is he worth is a rookie running back going to come in and give you D-amount production for $3 or $4 million? I just don't think that $3 or $4 million is worth being hey, we're gonna regress an RB2. And then the next year it is more of a significant hit to where it's a $10 million hit and a $2.5 million dead cap. So you would save about $7 million. But again, in the long run, at that point, okay, if you really want to move on, you trade. But I just think if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you want to have the best roster possible. He puts you in a position to where you have the best roster possible. And if this year you're we want to save $3 or $4 million, who are you going to find? You have to hope you hit on a running. You've already hit on an RB2, an elite one. Yeah, and it's not you're paying $12+ million for the guy. You're paying
how many teams can say if their starter goes down, you have another starter. Maybe he's not Jahmyr Gibbs' abilities, but if Jahmyr
your season isn't over,
they still have a running back.
You can still win a Super Bowl.
He's not Jahmyr, but he's a damn good back. You would be better off than a rookie. Now, there's two different things here. Could a rookie do what DeMont did this year? Yes. But could a rookie do what DeMont does on a typical year-to-year basis? No. What he should be doing? No. But what they're doing to him right now is he's in prison. I mean, he got 700 yards, bro. That's dude, I want to see what running backs got 700 yards. I'll tell you right now. This is what I think. And 700 yards is hey, that's for some guys, that's good. Hey, I'll take 700 yards. Let me tell you who got 700 yards this year. Here, I'll tell you right now. So who was in the ballpark of 700 yards? Woody Marks. Vital from the Chargers. He got 640. Tyrone Tracy. Jordan Mason. You know what I'm saying? These guys, dude, D-Mon's better than these guys. J.K. Dobbins did it in 10 games. Holy shit. I didn't know that. He was balling. But Kyle Monungai got 700 yards. You can do that with a back Kyle Monungai. But a guy who can get you 1,000 as an RB2? No. If D-Mon's being used correctly? No. He's a really good back. And he can get you double-digit touchdowns. He's automatic in the end zone. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. He wasn't a Pro Bowler this year. By the way, I have no interest, zero, to watch the Pro Bowl, and I'm going to explain why right after we come back from break. So we'll see you guys in a minute. We'll talk about the Pro Bowl. I've interrupted the show to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper, and specifically Sleeper Picks. And I have my picks for the Super Bowl, which is on Sunday. Seahawks, Patriots, squaring off. And I have 4 picks for you guys that you guys can tail on Sleeper, or you can go with your own. But the ones I'm going with more on Stephon Diggs' receiving yards, most experienced wide receiver they have, and he's the best. And I think that Drake May is going to lean on him in a massive game. Travion Henderson, more on his rushing yards. It's a player that's been electric this year, the rookie out of Ohio State. Give me more on his rushing yards, more on Sam Darnold's rushing yards. 6.5? That's 1 scramble or 2. But I like Sam Darnold to at least try and scramble in this game. It's the biggest game of the year. You have to. JSN, I'm going to go less on his 94.5 receiving yards. It's a risky play, but I think New England's corners are just too good for him to go out and have 100+ yards. So I'm going to go less than. I think he has a pretty good game, but I don't think he has a game like he had against the Los Angeles Rams. So those are my picks. You could tail them or choose your own. Sleeper, proud partner of Crunch Time Sports. Now let's get back to it. All right. Let's talk about.
Let's get back to it.
I got no interest, by the way. I got no interest watching the Pro Bowl. 0. I just realized. Shout out to you. Shout out to you for posting it because it helped me as a sports fan. I didn't even know they do the catch thing with Amon-Ra.
That was last year. Well, last year. I didn't even know they've ever done that. I didn't know that was a thing. I just found that out. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Slam dunk-ish, I guess. They're trying to be show off a little bit. Because let's be real here. That right there can draw some people if you're trying to draw eyes. The only thing that saves the NBA All-Star game is the dunk contest, which sucks now. Which is brutal. They've ruined that too.
Point, that was the only thing everyone would be like, I got to watch the dunk contest, But yeah, the Pro Bowl sucks. The only way,
to be honest,
they're going to bring it back and they're not going to do this.
Put some pads on. Get the pads back. I think they need to. Do you know one thing why I love about the NBA All-Star Game? I don't know if you've been seeing this, but Wemby came out, and this is what I love. This is why like some generations are just Wemby came out and was like, I'm playing hard, and if other guys want to join me, they can. He was like, I'm playing as hard as I can. And he was like, I will dominate if I have to, but I'm not going to do what they do where they just run up. Wemby was like, I'm playing, which I love. And then Jamal Murray came out and was like, I honestly didn't want to get voted into the All-Star game because they don't play hard. And he was like, but I'm showing, and Jamal Murray was someone who was like, I'm showing up and playing too. So it's like, I kind of like, and I hope the pendulum swings back a little bit to where guys start to play a little bit. I think some of these guys got soft. I think the Pro Bowl, like it's the same thing with the Pro Bowl, like get rid of the flag football. Play football. Like, I don't care if you get hurt. Like, dude, honestly,
they used to do it.
Who cares? It's like that's part of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's part of it. And if your guy gets hurt, okay, like that's part of it. And you can't be mad at it. And I think it's part of football. I would love for the pads to come back and then to play. But they'll never do it. Pro Bowl, I think, is just officially done. I think it's just really turned into just another way for the NFL to make money with sponsorships. And obviously you get some of those guys out there. I mean, Shedeur Sanders is there. I just saw a tweet Ian Rappaport tweeted out less than an hour ago and said that Justin Fields was invited to do the Pro Bowl. And Justin Fields declined the Pro Bowl. If Justin Fields is getting an invite and declining, you have a problem. Like, there's an issue. Like, he got benched. Did he not? Didn't he get benched?
Dude, he sucked, yeah.
He got benched. And he got an invite to the Pro Bowl. So they need to figure out. I mean, I honestly, Jeff, I've had this opinion. I think I've told you. You've heard me say this. It's the same thing with the NBA. I think I think some of these commissioners and people try and change things that are not broken. Like I think they tried to change the Pro Bowl when it wasn't broken. And I think NBA, they tried to change the NBA All-Star game when it wasn't broken. And I think once they started changing it, guys stopped trying and people lost interest in it. And I think both sides, if you just go back to what you did when it started, I think everything will get fixed. But they'll just never do it. The ownerships and the higher ups will never do it.
But now contracts have gotten in rule changes have shown this, that they've basically punished defensive players for playing hard. But the contracts have gotten so high and players are making so much money, which again, pro players, but that hurts. Now you're looking at the Pro Bowl as like, I don't want my guys to get hurt. I don't want my quarterback to get hit and potentially get hurt. I'm paying them $50-60 million a year. I agree with you that they try and change. Like I used to love the NBA All-Star game. I mean, me and you were the same way. I used to tune in, love watching these guys play hard. It was the best.
I look forward to it, man.
Because they would play hard. That was when Kobe was, RIP. Even LeBron at that time, everyone was playing hard. They wanted to win. And then it got to a point where it's like, now they're like making it where like quarters are gone. Now they're chasing a point total. It's like they try and do this shit where they're like trying to make adjustments. Now, it's like
now they want to do international versus
they want to do internet. They're trying to like you could tell it's a ruined product. And I'll give you a fun fact right now. So the Pro Bowl used to be tackle, like you alluded to. They stopped, I think, at like the 2022 season. This is how many viewers were watching in the 2010s. In 2010, they had over 12 million watching. All right, I'll highlight some years. 2014, 11 million. 2013, 12 million. And then you go into like towards 2020, 8 million in 2018, 8 million in 2019, 2020, 8 million. Almost 7 million the last year of tackle football. Now we're in the Pro Bowl games, 6 million, 5 million, 5 million.
Going to go down too.
Millions have stopped watching because they've changed and I understand like the tackle thing, but like that's what people wanted to watch. They were in the 10, 12, 13, 14 million view range watching guys play tackle football. Like, and now they've cut that by almost 1/3, some in half, because they want to do these stupid games. It's like, okay, fine. I'm not watching flag football, bro. Okay. And I agree. Like, I'm a Shedeur guy. There's no way in hell that guy's a Pro Bowler. Okay. Like, we got to fix the format.
No, you know what should happen, actually?
That's ridiculous.
I think what they need to do, the NFL needs to do, is they need to make it, or in the next NFLPA or whatever it is, or the bargaining agreement, whatever it's called, they need to make it in contracts. Like, if you make an all-pro team and you're not in the Super Bowl, you're in your contract obligated to attend the Pro Bowl. If you're voted into the Pro Bowl and you're one of the top guys, unless there's a significant injury, you are obligated to attend the Pro Bowl. Like they have to do something because you just can't have guys being like, no, I'm good. No, I'm good. You just can't have that, dude. You can't. And if you're like hurt or tired and you had a long year like an Aaron Rodgers, like you have to go, but you're not playing and other quarterbacks are going to have to play. But you cannot, like they have to put it in contracts or something. But like this is where either you cancel the Pro Bowl. Literally the only reason I watch is because we have a social media company and we have to put and there's 5 or 6 Lions players in there. So we have to post about it. If I wasn't working in the social media world, I would not be watching the Pro Bowl. I wouldn't have cared about the practices today or yesterday, nothing. Would not have cared a bit. Not one bit. Yeah. So they need to figure something out, man. They really do. Like the NBA, like the NBA guys aren't just like declining it. If they make it, they go. The NFL needs to get to that. Like, hey, if you make the Pro, you have to go. Like it means something. The fact that guys are starting to decline it. If I was in the NFL circles, dude, and if I was like a Hall of Famer, I would be mad. Like you're ruining what the Pro Bowls mean. Because now, like, you know, you used to look at it and be like, oh, this guy's a 10-time Pro Bowler. Like that means something. Like you look at LeBron. LeBron's like a 18, 19-time All-Star. Like that, you use that as a stat when you're like, hey, that means something. Like that's legit. Like, dude, he was an All-Star every year of his career.
Well, make the Pro Bowl.
Now it means nothing.
Like they had. It should be after the Super Bowl. I agree with that.
I agree as well. That could definitely be it. But the NFL has ruined it. They've made it meaningless to be voted up. Like now you go to Shedeur Sanders' Wikipedia and it says one-time Pro Bowler. It's like, dude, he's not. So then when you go to see like Brian Urlacher's, you know, oh, he's an 8-time Pro Bowler. That means nothing anymore. And it should mean something.
Well, hey, dude, that's what matters. When guys get into Hall of Fames, they look at that.
Exactly. Now it's like all pro.
Trevor Lawrence wasn't a Pro Bowler this year. They had the number one dude. They were.
But the problem is I think Trevor Lawrence got invited over Shedeur. I think he declined it. So you have guys declining it because the game means nothing. So you have to find a way to first. You have to start by finding a way to make the game mean something, and not even just. You just have to. If you're the NFL, in contracts moving forward, you have to put something in there like you cannot decline the Pro Bowl. If you get voted in, you're in. Unless you have a significant injury, and even if you have an injury, you have to attend, and you have to be on the sideline. But they have to figure a way out to make it to where guys can't decline it. The declining is the thing that's reason the Shedeur's getting it, or why, you know, Huntley got it a couple years ago.
That was another egregious thing. Like Huntley started in like a handful of games and he was a Pro Bowler.
But these players are also kind of ruining it too because they're declining it. Like you should not decline it. Why would you decline a Pro Bowl?
Yeah, and the I think it comes from ownership. I think ownership has a say in like the tackle football thing. I think they want to protect their assets, which I understand. But I think that's a lot of players too. Players that want to put on pads. You know, they don't want to do that. Which, like, okay, I get it. I understand it. Like, would I be watching the Pro Bowl excited to watch the Pro Bowl if there was pads? Yes. Would I be worried about Penei Sewell or Jahmyr Gibbs? Of course I would. But, like, every team would have to experience that. That's just like, I mean, you're out of the playoffs, dude. Like, they've had all this time to rest. Like, you could play one Pro Bowl game. And I'm not saying you got to, like, kill each other. I'm saying tackle football. Like, you know, we're you know what I mean? Like, it maybe like an all-star game where you're playing hard defense. No one's trying to intentionally injure each other, but maybe there's like that kind of understanding where it's like, I'm not going to try and kill you, but we're going to play hard and we're going to tackle. Like Dan Campbell, hell, they have guys they were tackling in training camp. You can tell them you can't tackle in a Pro Bowl game? I mean, like,
dude. You notice no Lions players decline the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, because
they always show up. They all always show up for years now. You have to say these like, why is Trevor Lawrence declining a Pro Bowl?
I don't know. I don't know why Justin Fields would decline it. Maybe it's just his integrity. He's like, I didn't deserve it, but like I would still take it. It's not Shedeur's fault. Like if I got invited, I'm going. I'm a Pro Bowler. Like I want to put that on my resume. It's not his fault. It's the how they're voting. It's the process. It's because you know why he was big in fan voting. He dominated fan voting, and that had to weigh in something. I think fans should. I think their impact should be like not that much as it is. Like fans, like listen, fans are going to vote for more popular players. You got to let players and coaches vote on that. Like you got to let guys vote. Who's actual Pro Bowlers? Like
I agree.
Like Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville might not get as much hype as Shedeur Sanders. But like clearly, or I'm just making an example. But like those, you shouldn't have fans be dictating. I know it's not a lot of percentage that they control, but even letting fans like dictate Pro Bowl games, it's like what? Like big market players like Justin Fields, like what? How? Like what the hell? How would Justin Fields get there? I don't even. It's ridiculous. I hate it.
I can't wrap my head around it, dude. And they're never gonna fix it. They won't.
No, they're not. They're not going to fix it. I really hope the NBA All-Star. That's like and then this year the dunk contest is ruined because no one wants to do it anymore.
I saw some people got already committed to it. Who was?
Because I saw Mac McClung's won it like 4 times. He said he's out this year.
The last time the dunk contest was good, and it's never been good since. You probably can guess what I'm going to say, but it was Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon, and I don't even know what year that was. They did back-to-back years.
4 or 5 years ago.
They did back-to-back years, and it was there were 2 star players, like Aaron Gordon in my in Orlando at the time was like a all-star, Zach LaVine all-star. They were just 2 dudes, and it was elite, man. 2 of the best high flyers in the league going at it. And then ever since then, and you know what it was too? I can't remember who it was that lost. I think it might have been Zach LaVine that lost. Or no, Aaron
10
Gordon.
years ago, man. Time flies.
That was 10 years ago?
Holy shit, dude.
So it hasn't been good in 10 years. NBA dunk contest winners. Let me look this up real quick.
You might be right, man. Times it flies, dude. It feels like it was only a couple of years ago.
That's so crazy if that's true, because it feels like
it wasn't that long.
That was 2016. Zach LaVine won.
Oh my god.
And then it went Glenn Robinson, Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell wasn't too bad. I mean, when Hamidou Diallo won it, played for the Thunder. Derek Jones Jr. Anthony Simons won it. Obi Toppin was a good year.
Yeah, Obi Toppin. Mac McClung saved it the last.
And then Mac McClung, I don't even think he did. He played in the G League. It was Mac McClung versus 3 other guys. No one knew who they were.
But he was the only one doing anything. Like he was jumping over, like he was doing a bunch of cool shit.
But like remember the Nate Robinson ones, dude? Like
Blake Griffin jumping over a Kia.
Blake Griffin.
Like, dude, they don't do any of that stuff now.
The problem is, dude, is these commissioners try to do way too much, man. Like, dude, and I'll say it. People might not like to hear it. There's 9 international games. I really respect the international growth, Jeff. I don't know how you feel about this, but they said their goal is to have every team once a year play internationally. So 16 international games. You're just taking away games from home crowds. Like this year, one of our home games is in Germany. You take away a Lions home game. That's crazy.
I'm telling you, people want to bring up the Bad Bunny stuff. Like the league knows what they're doing. Bad Bunny's gonna appeal to an
international
audience. Yeah, like they're forcing the international, which again, from a business perspective, I understand.
It makes more money.
Yeah,
but again, it's like trying to change the dunk contest. It's like you're trying to change things that aren't broken. It's like you're trying to fix something that's not broken so you can make more money. But then again, it's one of those things, Jeff, where it's like the thing with DMOT. What's the saying again that I said?
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for. They wish to make more money and grow the game, and then it ends up ruining it down the stretch.
Yeah, I'm surprised the NBA is more of a worldwide game, and they go to Paris.
They went to Mexico City.
They go to Mexico City, but they don't do. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. They don't go they don't have a ton of games outside the U.S. Do they?
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Wow, so they're even like
they traveled this last year. They did games in Australia.
I'm trying to think how many games
they just recently they just did a game in Germany. They did back-to-back games in Germany and I think in London like 2 weeks ago. It was like a 10 a.m. NBA game out of nowhere.
There were seven international showcases for this season.
Yeah, so they do. Listen, I don't hate them. I just think it's like if you're getting to a point to where it's like you're having 16, 20, and then the next it's going to be 30. It's like, hey, man, like I like the international growth. Like I like the fact that they go to Mexico City and play, that they might go to Brazil or Germany, like with Amin-Ra. I do like that because like we met the Lions guys in Germany that, we did a collab with them, like great people. And I think it's awesome. But I just think it's like, hey, dude, if you're okay, now you do go from 5 games, now you're at 9, now you're at 20, then you get to 30, and then it's like now we're doing too many to where you're taking away from fans that where it's like, hey, let's do 8 to 10 every year, and let's just rotate every year.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me. I don't want to sound like a hater because I do really. I have some of my best friends in the world are from Australia, and I've got a lot of people that I know around internationally, and we've worked with the Germany Alliance guys. Like but
I get what you're saying.
It's like the All-Star game, man. They're just going to keep changing, and it's going to keep frustrating.
Hey, shout out, big shout out again, Colton Pouncy joining the show today.
Legend,
tomorrow
dude.
We got Flannel, we got the Doc pack show this week, and then Friday we'll talk Super Bowl with Caleb, and we'll give our Super Bowl picks. We'll dive into the first and second round mock tomorrow from ESPN, so we'll spend a lot of time on that. I know I posted a video, but we'll spend a lot more time in depth. The pick, why it makes sense, why it doesn't make sense. So we'll break that down tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. Before you leave, hit the like button on the stream.
Yes.
Okay? Hit the like button on the stream before you go. It's free. It takes a second. Get your merchandise, officialctsports.com. We yapped too long again. Tomorrow we'll do a mailbag.
Let's hand up on me. I get going sometimes.
No, it's not. It's both of us. Well, tomorrow we'll do a mailbag. We'll start like maybe 9:45 or something.
Yeah.
We'll do like an extended mailbag for you guys. That's on us. But until tomorrow, we appreciate you all.
Love you guys.
Peace.